A ball of aura swiftly forced its way in. A ball of aura swiftly forced its way in. This aura. Long Fei's expression changed. The aura is completely different from that of the Demon King's demon beast. Without waiting for him to react, a ball of purple mist struck out from the dark forest like a lightning snake. The incomparably huge spirit demon Chi covered Long Fei in a low voice. Boom. Rumble. The air rumbled. Purple mist and illusions. Whoosh. A figure instantly rushed in front of Long Fei and kicked him continuously with both of his feet. It was extremely fast. It was so fast that Long Fei didn't have time to react. He could only cover his chest with both hands. Bang, bang, bang. A kick landed on Long Fei's arm, causing the purple fog to burst out. Long Fei was forced to retreat. His entire body was covered by the purple fog. One kick down. Long Fei retreated step by step and could only passively defend, unable to strike back. Bam! The power behind the last continuous kick was extremely strong, as both of his legs landed heavily on Long Fei's chest. At the same time, Long Fei flew away. Bam! He landed heavily on the ground. The purple-robed man revealed his true form, his mouth revealing a cold and contemptuous smile. He stared at Long Fei, who was crawling on the ground in the distance. Humans are trash that can't even withstand a single blow. A mere outer disciple of the ancient antiquity dares to act so atrociously here. You're courting death. With a sinister sound, the ancient regions stared at Long Fei, their eyes bursting with killing intent. Long Fei patted the dried-up leaves on his body and laughed. Body of a goblin tribe member. Your training is not bad, you actually managed to form a human form. It looks like. With the boss's radiance emitted from your body, you should be a demon emperor level beast, right? Long Fei was not afraid. He didn't give up just because of the chain of kicks. On the contrary, he was very excited. This was because the boss had appeared. Upon hearing the word beast, the ancient regions was about to spew out flames of anger. They stared at Long Fei and moved their right hands as they spread open their fingers. Boom. Rumble. A violet vortex rose up from the ground. A violet vortex. Thick energy instantly attacked the purple vortex from all directions, and the robes of the ancient regions rustled. You're courting death. Boom. He twisted his 5 fingers and made a grasping motion. A dense purple mist revolved around his palm, and he pushed at Long Fei. Hualala. The gigantic tree instantly fell down, and all of its leaves flew around, like sharp blades striking towards Long Fei. This power. Strong performance. Sand and stones flew everywhere, and dead trees and leaves flew everywhere. Almost everything around them had become a weapon used by the ancient regions to kill people. All these things resounded in Long Fei's mind. He's dead for sure. The Demon Emperor's powerhouse. Transforming into a human demon beast, even a king swordsman powerhouse might not be able to withstand this kind of power. This brat. I'm tired of living. We originally had a chance at survival, but against these demon kings, we at least had the chance to register ourselves. Now that the human form of the Demon Emperor has appeared, will we still be able to survive? It's all that brat's fault. He's going to die soon. Not far away, many outer court disciples discussed. At this moment, they quickly retreated. Right now, the further he was from this place, the safer it would be, because this place had already become a killing field. It was like a spell formation, and all living creatures inside would die. The pressure of the Demon Emperor was unable to approach him. The purple fog vortex released by the Demon Emperor turned an area of 300 meters into a killing array. Other than the Demon Emperor's real face, there was no other living being within it. Hualala. Hualala. The purple mist vortex was controlling more and more things, and everything around it seemed to spin. In the whirlpool, even a small stone could kill a person. Long Fei stood within the whirlpool, and his pupils slightly tightened. You're just like an ant under my feet right now. As long as I lift my foot, I can trample you to death, the ancient region sneered. Long Fei looked at his surroundings, and said indifferently, "Oh?" The ancient region said, "Look at you humans, listen to the voices of your fellow senior brother S. They all said that you harmed them, and they all said that you are a brainless madman. None of them stepped forward to help you, and yet, You human beings are so pitiful. Live, what qualifications does a cowardly human like you have to survive in this world? He said coldly. Long Fei laughed faintly. No matter how weak humans are, no matter how selfish they are, it's still a matter for us humans. There's no need for you to speak any further nonsense here. If you're a demon, you wouldn't be hiding in the wilderness, talking about qualifications with me. Are you even worthy? Speaking of the pain of the ancient regions. Indeed. If the monster race was powerful, they wouldn't have to hide in this forest. The human body was not strong, and his cultivation was slow. However, the rate at which humans reproduce was trillions of times faster than demons. It was the same for the entire ancient world. Cluck, cluck, cluck. The ancient region's teeth chattered. He was clearly even angrier now. Both of his eyes looked down at Long Fei as he said, I can spare your life, but I want you to kneel down and say you humans are trash, trash. Long Fei smirked and said, you demi-humans are trash, trash. The muscles in the corner of the ancient region's eyes twitched, the rage in their eyes growing even more intense as they replied, your mouth is formidable, right? Then let's see how strong your mouth is. He couldn't hold it in any more. Blue veins popped out on the ancient region's foreheads as a surge of power entered the purple vortex. He laughed loudly and said, you pathetic human, go and die. Long Fei's pupils tightened, and he was about to exert his strength. But right at this moment, boom! With an explosive sound, a human figure landed heavily onto the ground, blocking in front of Long Fei. It was Zhao Dahan. Zhao Dahan roared, who said no one will help? Me too. He suddenly landed on the ground and clenched his fists tightly. Bang, bang, bang. Explosions were heard in the air one after another. Long Fei was startled, and said, all three, why are you here? Didn't I tell you not to come out? Zhao Dahan laughed. Boss, I want to play too. The ancient regions laughed coldly. One more to die. Explode. The purple vortex moved, and all the energy in the killing array retreated. All the sand, rocks, branches, and leaves had turned into extremely sharp hidden weapons, exploding on Zhao Dahan and Long Fei. Zhao Dahan looked at Long Fei and said, Boss, don't move. I'll deal with him. Killing array? Me too. Defensive formation. Mystical rock matrix. Bang. Zhao Dahan's body suddenly turned sinister, his body became larger and turned into a giant made of stone, blocking all of the attacks. Block all attacks. Moreover, he didn't move at all. It was like a sudden wave. The Demon Emperor realm, how powerful was it? The Demon Emperor realm, how powerful was it? Moreover, furthermore, the spirit demon emperor who had cultivated to the shape of a human had an even stronger cultivation. Let alone the sword saint, even the humans of the king swordsman rank would find it hard to defend against the power released by such a powerhouse. But Zhao Dahan blocked the attack. What level of cultivation was he at? It's only at the early stage of immortal swordsman rank, forcefully stopping all the weapons in the ancient battlefield slaughtering formation. Moreover, there were only countless scratches on his body, and none of them were able to break through his defenses. Too terrifying. Not to mention the ancient regions, even Long Fei was shocked by Zhao Dahan's defenses. What the F***K? This defense is that powerful? Long Fei exclaimed. Long Quang laughed blandly. It seems that he has reached the 4th level of peak realm and can transform his body. Master, this is all thanks to your spirit blood. Your spirit blood really possesses too strong and too powerful of a strength. Originally, I had thought that his greatest talent in this life would only be Emperor Swordsman rank, but now, your spirit blood has completely changed his body. His current potential is simply limitless and powerful. Long Fei, my spirit blood. Sigh. There was some envy in Long Fei's eyes as he thought bitterly in his heart, is my spirit blood only capable of becoming someone else? What about me? With the many spirit blood-s in my body, how can my cultivation not break through a little faster? Could it be that my spirit blood is useless on his own? Holy **T. This was not the first time. Long Fei gave many people to him, and those who got their hands on him had all improved by leaps and bounds. That kind of cultivation speed could only be described as riding on a rocket. But what about himself? It was as if his spirit blood was completely useless. There was not a single tree, nor any flowers, grass, or branches within 100 jong of a flat piece of land. All the stones turned to powder. They were all blocked by Zhao Dahan's defensive power, and were suppressed forcibly, as if they were the purple mist whirlpools in the ancient region. The reason why this was happening was not because the demon emperors of the ancient regions were not strong enough. It was Zhao Dahan's defense. His innate talent was a stone, which was precisely his defense. Earth defense. It was also because of this that Zhao Dahan was able to completely resist the power of the ancient region. It was not because Zhao Dahan was stronger than the ancient regions. If they were to compete in attack power, Zhao Dahan was not a match for the ancient regions. Looking at Zhao Dahan, who had returned to his original form, his hands suddenly moved. Ah! Boom! Rumble! Bang! 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 Both of his hands moved together, but this time, the power was even more ferocious. The power of the purple mist surged out. It came from all directions. The face of the ancient regions turned ferocious, and two sharp horns sprouted from its forehead. Its eyes glowed with a purple light, and this time, its power was even greater. Zhao Dahan smiled faintly and said, "Come, use whatever power you have. Let's see what you can do, bastard." It was the word beast again. The ancient regions was completely enraged as they roared in madness. The power from his palms rose up like purple pillars from the ground. The entire world seemed to be spinning. Long Fei frowned, and said, "The boss has gone berserk." Zhao Dahan said excitedly, "It's good that you are going crazy. I also know what realm my defense has reached." Ever since he absorbed Long Fei, his cultivation speed was so fast that even he himself could not comprehend it. Right now, he did not even know how strong he was. He had just blocked the full might of the ancient region, but he hadn't used his full strength yet. If he were to go all out, then what level would his defense be at? Zhao Dahan really wanted to know. However, without waiting for Zhao Dahan to release all of his defensive power, suddenly, the ancient regions stared blankly at his palms. The power of the violet mist beneath his palm vanished. The immense power from earlier vanished in an instant, and the surroundings returned to its previous calm. It was as if nothing had happened. My strength. My power. Why? Why? The ancient regions didn't understand, and they twisted their palms again. Another dense mass of energy was released from his palm, and a purple mist curled up around it. However, in less than half a minute, the released energy suddenly disappeared, as if it had been transferred to another world. Who is it? The ancient regions roared, and the aura of the demon emperor on its body shook violently. Boom! The purple energy wave immediately flew out. A voice appeared, and with a light leap, it landed on the other side of Long Fei. "Bailey Tianhai." He slightly smiled and said, "A mere purple centipede was able to cultivate to a human form and act so arrogantly. If I say that you are an animal, you have to admit it." The face of the GU territory turned ashen. Not a single human knew that he had cultivated into a human. The ancient regions stared at Bailey Tianhai and asked, "Who are you?" Bailey Tianhai ruffled his long hair, cleared his throat, and said, "Listen carefully. I am that elegant, handsome, and intelligent Bailey Tianhai. You can call me Hai Ge, or the Sea God." Zhao Dahan asked, "Second brother, how did you know he was a centipede?" Long Fei was also curious. Bailey Tianhai smiled faintly and said, "With my 8 brains, forget about being a centipede. As long as I am willing, I would even know what kind of ancestor he is." Zhao Dahan scratched his head and said, "I also know what his ancestors were. They are also centipedes." Bailey Tianhai was slightly taken aback. He was acting tough and acting in the wrong direction, which made him feel a little awkward. However, still powerful. At least, Long Fei didn't know that the ancient regions was a centipede. In addition to calculating and thinking fast, there were also a lot of things that ordinary people's minds couldn't know. Since you know that I was transformed by a centipede, then I'll let you all experience my true form. Ah! The face of the Arceus region twisted, and his violet robe was ripped apart. An incomparably ferocious gigantic centipede with a body 100 meters long appeared. The centipede's entire body was purple. A royal character appeared on his forehead. The Emperor of Centipedes. It was also in the realm of the Demon Emperor. Hundreds of feet moved about, eyes staring straight at Long Fei and the other two. He said, "All of you must die, all of you die." Zhao Dahan looked at Long Fei and said, "Boss, how do we fight?" Bailey Tianhai said, after forcing out his real body, "This guy's strength has at least doubled, and his defense. There doesn't seem to be any weak points." Even the 8 brain geniuses couldn't see through the Centipede Emperor's weakness. This meant that the Centipede Emperor had no weaknesses. Long Fei smirked and said, "You guys have all been acting tough before, now it's my turn, right? Since you've revealed your true form, that's better. Burst him." As soon as he finished, Long Fei did not want to waste his time, and frowned. Level 5 Ancient Dragon Body, open. The aura on his body abruptly changed. A mere centipede actually dared to act tough in front of the Dragon Emperor? It was almost the same as courting death. Ancient Dragon Body of the 5th level, with Dragon Spirit Shadow in his body. Ancient Dragon Body of the 5th level, with Dragon Spirit Shadow in his body. He exploded forth with his strength. The dragon roared, and the dragon's might rippled. Long Fei seized the opportunity and leapt high into the air, smashing down heavily. Under the might of the dragon, the Centipede Emperor could not even move at all. It just lay there foolishly on the ground, trembling non-stop. His mind felt as if it was going to explode. Boom! Long Fei descended and stepped on the back of the Centipede Emperor. His leg was like a dragon's claw as it pressed down on the back of the Centipede Emperor. Crack! The hard shell of the Centipede Emperor immediately shattered. Ah! The Arceus region let out a blood-curdling screech as a mouthful of blood gushed out from its mouth. Long Fei stomped his feet. Crack! The body of the Centipede Emperor was instantly torn apart. It did not even have the chance to retaliate as it continued to scream miserably and twitch non-stop while spitting out blood. His body curled up and slowly turned back into his human form. His pupils dilated as he looked at Long Fei with incomparable terror, and said, "Don't kill me, I beg you, don't kill me." A hole had already been opened in his abdomen, and as fresh blood gushed out from it, the blood on his head started to pour down like a torrential downpour. Long Fei smirked and said, "Don't kill you. Give me a reason not to kill you." The Arceus region replied, "I am willing to be a slave for the rest of my life." He wanted to live. He had an incomparable desire to live on. His cultivation had taken him thousands of years to cultivate. If he died, he would have nothing left. He did not want to die. Long Fei disdainfully said, "Do you think you are qualified to become a slave?" He had been crushed like this with just a single move. Was he even qualified to be his slave? What's the use of coming? The Arceus region tensed up, saying, I have some use for you. I am a demon emperor, and I am demon emperor's only disciple. I have said something at the demon tower. As long as I say one word, all of the demon king demon beast in the entire valley will leave the valley, and the demon emperors in the demon tower will absolutely not touch you. I'm very useful. Please don't kill me. Long Fei glanced at the depths of the valley and muttered, "There really is someone controlling these demon kings' sudden attacks." However, it didn't matter to him whether someone was controlling it or not. These things could not threaten him at all. Looking at the golden light flashing on the body of the ancient regions, he continued, "All of this is still useless to me. If I can easily crush you, then naturally, I can overturn the entire monster tower as well. So, boss, how could he not explode? Released. It was completely not Long Fei's style. Thus, Long Fei wanted to make his move, but the strength beneath his feet increased. He looked at the ancient region and said, "Sorry, it's better if you just obediently explode." The ancient regions issued a blood-curdling scream, "Ah!" Just as Long Fei was about to reap his life, suddenly, Long Fei stopped. His gaze darkened as he stared at another spot. One of them was dressed in white. A middle-aged man in snow-white clothes walked out. He had an exquisite appearance, like a demon. It could be said. Even those drop-dead gorgeous beauties couldn't compare to this white-clothed man in front of her. It was Long Fei's first time seeing such a good-looking man, who was like a fox, but he was very unhappy with men who were more handsome than him. When the white-clothed man appeared, the aura around him was completely wrong. Even Long Fei's level 5 ancient dragon body trembled slightly. Long Quang immediately said, "This guy's cultivation is a bit terrifying. He should be at the peak of that level in the mortal world." Demon Emperor? Long Fei tensed up. Long Quang Dao, probably. Oh, isn't that an even stronger and fiercer boss? Wow. Long Fei swallowed his saliva. He became even more excited, but what made him even more confused was that this fellow did not release any of his Fa Li. Not a single bit of light from a boss. That was unreasonable. When the Arceus region saw the white-robed man, they immediately shouted out, "Master, save me." The white-clothed man looked at the ancient region and his gaze tensed up. He then looked at Long Fei and said lightly, "Little brother, can you give me some face and let him live? I guarantee that from today onwards, no demon beast will dare to stop you when you enter the immemorial Zephyr Mountain." He spoke softly. The aura was completely different. His aura was very calm, and within it was the aura of a king. This should be the aura of the powerhouse. Moreover, the white-clothed man appeared as if no one had seen him other than Long Fei. And Zhao Dahan, who were standing at the side, did not even look at the man in white. What was even more special was, the gazes of Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dahan did not move one bit, nor did he move his body. Having noticed all of this, Long Fei's gaze tightened as he looked around with the corner of his eye. His mind was overwhelmed with shock as he realized that everything within 30 meters of him had stopped moving. Time is still. This power. Long Quang slightly said, "This guy is a bit stronger than I thought. He can actually control space. Right now you are completely in his domain. Master, you have to be careful." Domain. It was like a special space. In this domain, the white-robed man was the controller. Anything in this space, he could make it use its soul flying in an instant. This was the power of a domain. The key was, Long Fei did not even know when he released this power, and did not sense it at all. It could be seen how strong this guy was. He actually could not detect the power that was released by Long Fei's level 5 dragon body. Demon Emperor's strength. Extraordinary. Seeing Long Fei's serious expression, the white-clothed man smiled faintly and said, "I wonder how little brother is going to consider." His tone was extremely calm. Long Fei retracted his aura, withdrew the power of his level 5 dragon body, and lifted his foot that was stepping on the wounds of the ancient regions. With a light voice, he said, "Since Demon Emperor has spoken, then I won't show any face if I don't comply." The white-robed man was surprised for a moment, but then he smiled. "Little brother is indeed not a mortal. My name is Bai Di. Can we be friends?" Long Fei asked, "You want to be friends?" The white-clothed man said, "That's right. I wonder if little brother thinks highly of me, and if you can become friends with me." Long Fei could tell that he was from the Demon Emperor. The same. Demon Emperor also saw that Long Fei was not ordinary. He didn't have absolute confidence that I could defeat Long Fei. The aura emitted from Long Fei's body was too strong. It was the kind of power that demons were unable to resist, and the dragon roar just now made him guess that Long Fei was not someone from the mortal realm. Is the reincarnation of the divine space. People of this status could only curry favor with him. They could not afford to offend him. To be able to become friends with Long Fei, there might be many benefits in the future. Long Fei said indifferently, "I am just making friends. I don't think there's a need for that, right?" He thought to himself, "With friends, how am I going to kill this boss?" But right at this moment, Bai Di flipped his right hand open, and took out an ancient box engraved with runes, and said, "If you are willing to be friends with me, this will be your gift to meet me." Once he took out the ancient box, Long Fei's eyes suddenly tensed up. It was instantly attracted over. Good stuff. Just looking at the runes carved on the ancient box, Long Fei felt that it was not an ordinary box. Bai Di said slightly, "Little brother indeed has good eyes. This was obtained from one of the spatial rifts I passed through, just that. This ancient box is too profound. Not to mention opening it, I don't even have a clue what the runes on it mean. If little brother likes it, then it will be right in front of my GIF." He had obtained this item for over 100 years. He really didn't know what was inside. Rather than not being unable to comprehend it, it would be better to give it to Long Fei. As long as he could build a good relationship with Long Fei, maybe the benefits would be even greater in the future. Of course. The most important reason why Bai Di wanted to be friends with Long Fei was because he had taken a fancy to Long Fei's potential, so he guessed that Long Fei was someone from the divine space. Long Fei said, "How embarrassing is that?" As he said that, Long Fei had already walked to Bai Di's side and directly took the ancient box from Bai Di's hands. The idea moved. System scan. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the ancient box. Ding. System notification. Unable to open for now, required Tianxian key. Huh. Long Fei was startled, and said, "Sky Profound key? What is a Sky Profound key, Dragon Kwong?" Long Fei asked Long Kwong. He should be clear about this. Long Kwong Dao, Profound Sky Key? It was a key that was crafted using Sky Profound stones. It was said that it could open any lock in the world, but this Profound Sky Key has already disappeared for a long time in the divine space. Master, it can't be that this ancient box requires the Profound Sky Key to open, right? Long Fei nodded, and said, "En." Long Kwong shook and said, "Master, a box that can only be opened with a Sky Profound key is definitely not some ordinary thing. Even in the divine space, there aren't many boxes that can be opened with a Sky Profound key. It's very possible that it's something from another world. He just said that he got it from a spatial crack. The runes on this box are also not the runes of the ancient world. This way, it's very likely to be an object from another realm. No wonder he couldn't see through it. Even the divine space's powerhouse would not be able to figure it out." Long Fei said, "So you're saying, this is a good thing?" Long Kwangdao, "It's definitely a good thing. It was an object from the other realms that was stored in a box made of runes. It definitely wasn't an ordinary item. The outer regions were vast and endless. To the outsiders, the ancient world was only the size of a grain of sand. Then again, ancient world was only a normal plane of existence, not even an upper plane. If he could open this ancient box, then it would definitely not be simple." Long Fei kept the ancient box with the space ring and immediately put his hand on Bai Di's shoulder while chuckling. "Ha ha ha. I have decided to make this friend of yours." How could he not give face to such a good thing? Moreover, Long Fei's current cultivation was not necessarily his match. In this kind of situation, to be able to give Bai Di face and make friends with him was not a bad choice. Was caught off guard by the sudden turn of events, and laughed along. "I wonder what brother's name is?" Long Fei said, "My name is Long Fei." Bai Di said, "Long Fei, what a good name, ha ha ha. From today onwards, you are my friend. No demon beast in the ancient Lai mountain range would dare to touch you." Moreover, Bai Di took out an order badge, and said, "This is my Demon Emperor command plate. Take out this order badge. Other than me, all demon clan members will listen to your orders. No matter what difficulties we encounter, they will protect us with their lives." Long Fei took it, and said, "Thank you, Brother Bai. It's just a pity I don't have anything for you." Gift. Long Fei doesn't have anything. The thing he had in the space ring was not a holy artifact. But he would not even give a hair to Bai Di, because Bai Di was just a friend and not a brother. There was still a huge gap between brothers and friends. Furthermore, Bai Di was in control of the entire mountain range. All the ores and spirit grasses were within his control. Bai Di said, "Bro, these words of yours are out of the ordinary." He did not expect Long Fei to have anything. What could an outer disciple of the ancient antiquity take out? What he had his eyes on was Long Fei's potential. Bai Di said, "I just hope that you won't forget me in the future." Long Fei said, "How is that possible? How could I forget you? No one will ever forget you. Don't worry, I will come often." Looking at Long Fei's crafty eyes, Bai Di felt that he had been tricked. He felt as if he had met a bandit. Bai Di said, "Welcome, often. All right. My useless disciple is almost unable to hold on any longer. I won't disturb you any further, and the spirit demon king demon beast in the valley will immediately disappear. You all can rest assured to train here." Bai Di smiled faintly and carried the ancient region with one hand. His figure blurred and disappeared in the blink of an eye. And at this moment, the domain vanished. Bailey Tianhai's eyes lightly blurred as he looked at Long Fei in astonishment. Zhao Dahan said, "What's going on? Why do I feel like I'm stuck in a pincer?" Bailey Tianhai frowned and asked, "Big brother, is that a spatial domain technique?" His brain reacted extremely quickly. Long Fei nodded and said, Demon Emperor came just now." Demon Emperor? Zhao Dahan's pupils shrank rapidly as the aura on his body instantly exploded and became extremely thick. Long Fei said, "They have already left." Bailey Tianhai secretly clenched his fists and said in a low voice, "The power of the spatial domain. If they had wanted to kill him just now, he wouldn't even know how he died." When he encountered the power of the domain of power, Bailey Tianhai suddenly felt that he was still too weak. He was like a fish on a chopping board, dying in an instant. Long Fei detected Bailey Tianhai's abnormality and said slightly, "Don't be anxious, Demon Emperor has trained for at least 10,000 years. How old are we? There's plenty of time." Bailey Tianhai nodded and said, "I will work even harder." Zhao Dahan also foolishly said, "Me will also work hard to cultivate." Hualala. Rumble. The footsteps from the forest were heading towards the valley. Just as Demon Emperor had said, all the demon beast left the valley. Furthermore, they were leaving very quickly. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "It's safe now, let's return to the cave to cultivate." "Master, why didn't you kill him? That brat." The Arceus region was deathly pale, and his abdomen was in intense pain. Numerous energies from his surroundings poured into his body. Bai Di said coldly, "Ignorant." The ancient regions trembled as they said, "Master, I." Bai Di said, "His cultivation is something even I am not able to win against. His strength is something even I am unable to see through. There is only one possibility for such a person." Bai Di's eyes looked at the sky, and muttered, "The divine space came to the world of mortal world to train, and this kind of person is someone we cannot afford to offend." "Understood." Unwilling to give up, the Arceus region replied in a low voice, "I understand." In the dark. What happened just now was under the gaze of a pair of eyes. He transmitted his voice to the idea and said, "Our target's cultivation level has exceeded our expectations. Do you want to continue hunting?" Not long later, his idea received the order, "Continue to hunt." As the horde of beasts retreated from the valley, the demonic valley regained its calm once more. As the horde of beasts retreated from the valley, the demonic valley regained its calm once more. The peace now was completely different from yesterday's. This time, it was truly safe as no other demon beast would invade. Not only that, even if they were to leave now, they would not encounter any demon beast. The Demon Emperor had already spoken. How could these spirit demon king level demon beast dare to disobey? I really have to thank junior brother Long Fei. If not for him, I'm afraid we would have to run for our lives for the next 2 days. That's right. We don't know what method he used to chase these monster kings out. No matter what, we have to thank him. I didn't expect his strength to be comparable to the Demon Emperor's. Thank him? Hee. That he could prove that the demon beast was driven out by him? Maybe the demon beast was afraid of senior brother Zhong? Didn't senior brother Zhong also just kill a demon king? If you want to thank someone, you would have to thank senior brother Zhong. Exactly. So what if I am grateful? As someone who scored negative, what qualifications does he have to receive our gratitude? You're right, what does he, Long Fei, count as? Some thanked him, while others disdained him. Zhongqi was one of those who were extremely disdainful. He did not know what had happened to Long Fei, but he was sure that the Demon King's retreat had nothing to do with Long Fei. At least, He did not think that Long Fei was a match for the spirit demon emperor. At this moment, buzz! A voice suddenly rang out, exploding within the valley. Sword immortal, score plus 100 points. Suddenly, a sound was heard. All the outer disciples in the valley were shocked. When they heard that the sword immortal had increased his score, they were all stunned. Increase in score? What do you mean? Why did the sword immortal's senior brother increase his score? What did he do? I didn't even see him. How did he increase his score? 100 evaluation points. This number can directly pass the first round of the examination. Sword Immortal is indeed worthy of being called the #1 expert in the outer sect. Sword Immortal was ranked #1 among the 10 strongest experts in the outer sect, and he was a lone wolf. Many people were extremely envious of the sudden increase in 100 points. The voice sounded once more. Zhongqi, score plus 100 points. As soon as he finished, Zhongqi, who was originally frowning, immediately revealed a complacent smile. His body slightly straightened, revealing a look of superiority. Ha ha ha. Senior brother Zhong is mighty. Senior brother Zhong is awesome. 100 points, senior brother Zhong, this is the pace to enter the second round of the examination. Ha ha ha. Senior brother Zhong is too powerful. The group of minions beside Zhongqi continuously praised him. Zhongqi was also extremely proud as he said, "Brothers, don't worry. When I become an inner disciple, you will all be able to shine." Ha ha ha. The group of lackeys immediately said in unison, "Thank you, senior brother Zhong." Zhongqi nodded in satisfaction. Liu Yifeng, score plus 100 points. Cheng Zhon, score plus 100 points. The sound echoed continuously. The 10 or so disciples all received 100 evaluation points. When Zhongqi heard these names, other than the fact that the first sword immortal posed a threat to him, no one else was his match. If it was the third round, defeating them wouldn't be a problem at all. Why is Long Fei's name not here? Him. His score is negative, how can he score? Ha ha ha. That's right, I've never seen anyone with a negative score before. He's the first one. He's here to be funny. Zhongqi also sneered, and said disdainfully, "A person who has a negative score wants to increase it. He has already been eliminated early." At this time, the voice continued. Zhao Dahan, score plus 1,000 points. Bailey Tianhai, score plus 10,000 points. As the two voices sounded out, the entire valley fell silent. Everyone's mouth was wide open in shock. What did they do? Why should I? How did they get 1,000 points? I refuse to accept this. They didn't do anything, how could they have so many points? They were all puzzled. Even Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dahan were confused. They looked at Long Fei and asked, "Big brother, did you get it wrong?" Bailey Tianhai said, "Just now, the ones who increased the score should be the people who hunted the demon beast. Both I and Big Sis did not kill a single demon beast, so why did we increase by 1,000 points? It shouldn't be a mistake. If it was a mistake, then it shouldn't be a mistake on both sides. I think it might be because of the two of you helping me." Long Fei wasn't sure either. Bailey Tianhai asked, "Is that so?" Zhao Dahan said, "It's starting again." The voice came again. Long Fei thought, "This should be my additional points, right? If I balance the score according to the demon beast hunted, I should have a few thousand points, right? If you add another demon emperor, how many points would that be? Then, count in the retreat of these demon kings." Hee hee. Long Fei was a little excited. You should be able to get at least tens of thousands of points, right? According to his calculations, it was indeed. His 100,000 points were all considered low. However, Long Fei, score plus 10 points. With that said, Long Fei was stunned. Only adding 10 points? Damn, who the hell is this? Is there something wrong with my brain? How come it's only 10? Boss killed so many demon beast. If it wasn't for the fact that Boss is surrounded by the ravages of demon beast, how come you're only at this stage? F***CK. This is too unfair. Zhao Dahan and Bailey Tianhai said indignantly, "No matter how you looked at it, it shouldn't be just 10 points. It's not fair. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. 10 more points. Not far away. Zhongqi walked out and laughed wildly. Did you injure a single hair on the demon beast? Otherwise, how could you increase it by 10 points? Ha ha ha. Senior brother Zhong, on the way here, he did not get a good score, but now that he has gained 10 points, it just so happens that it's offset. He still has 0 points. Ha ha ha. You were jumping up and down just now. How many points can I get? It was only 10 points. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. Does he look like he's raising his score by a lot? Boy, don't you despair? What a waste of time. Ha ha ha. Many people mocked. Zhao Dahan stared at Zhongqi in displeasure. He clenched his fists tightly, and his joints popped out. He glared at Zhongqi and said ruthlessly, King want to give this daddy a try again? Boom. His arms instantly turned into rocks, and he took a heavy step forward. Boom. The ground shook and a footprint 5 centimeters thick appeared. Zhongqi laughed coldly, and said, I'm just laughing, what's wrong? Trash can't make people laugh. Brothers, laugh for them. Ha ha ha. Zhao Dahan couldn't help but rush forward. Zhao Dahan's temper was bad. Zhao Dahan's temper was bad. Normally, it was impossible for people to tell when they were stupid. He wouldn't care if they were laughing at him or beating him up, but they shouldn't touch his bottom line. His previous baseline was Bailey Tianhai. No one could speak ill of Bailey Tianhai. It was different now. There was Long Fei. Seeing that someone was ridiculing Long Fei, he could not tolerate it. His body charged forward. The ground instantly shook, and the scene was as if it was a heavy tank. With each step he took, he created a deep footprint as he charged towards Zhongqi. Long Fei wanted to stop him, but it was already too late. Zhongqi's lips curved up as he sneered, You're courting death. He lowered his body and a sharp sword appeared in his hand. The sword images moved, Zhongqi's figure changed, 1,000 shadow sword, whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk did not care at all. Even the spirit demon emperor was not able to harm him, a mere Zhongqi. He did not put them in his eyes. With a heavy leap. Overlord suppression. Boom. His body instantly became extremely heavy, as though a mountain was crushing down. The strong wind raged. Zhongqi's eyes turned sinister as he bellowed, 1,000 shadow kill, Hua Lala. The sword intent danced crazily on Zhao Dahan's body like a wind blade, but Zhao Dahan seemed to not feel any pain from every move. There was not a single cut on his body. On the other hand, when Zhongqi felt the gigantic force descending from the sky, his expression darkened and his figure moved, instantly dodging the attack. Rumble. The ground shook, and a huge pit appeared. The entire pit was cracked open. If he was to be sat on right now, he would be dead or even crippled. Zhongqi's face changed. Just as he was about to dodge Zhao Dahan's attack, Bailey Tianhai's figure moved, and had already calculated the path Zhongqi would take. The longsword moved. Give me your life. It directly pierced towards Zhongqi's throat. Last time in South Heaven Gate, both he and Zhao Dahan were harmed by Zhongqi. He still vividly remembered that scene. His points were stolen and his body was heavily injured. He did not explain in detail to Long Fei, because this was his enmity. He wanted to report it himself. The speed of a sword locking down on one's throat was extremely fast. Zhongqi's palm oozed a cold sweat. His body had not even landed but a sword attack had already arrived. He definitely could not dodge it. Instantly, Zhongqi immediately grabbed Hu Liehua who was beside him and gave him a violent push. Bailey Tianhai's pupils became tight, he twisted his body, with a turn, the sword went around Hu Liehua and pierced towards Zhongqi. However, just because of this little bit of time, Zhongqi had time to react. His feet lightly tapped on the ground and he bounced off once again. It landed 10 zhong away. Zhongqi's eyes became gloomy. You two scum. Zhao Dahan jumped up from the deep pit and sneered. Who's the scum? Bailey Tianhai said, I have sworn that I will avenge the South Heaven Gate 10 times over. Zhongqi contemptuously said, with just you? The power on Bailey Tianhai's body became stronger again, and he wanted to attack again. However, At this moment, a deep voice sounded. Zhao Dahan, score is 0. Bailey Tianhai, score is 0. As the two voices fell, everyone was stunned. Zhongqi started laughing loudly. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. With your score cleared to 0, you two trash failed the first stage. Ha ha ha. You want to kill your father? Just the two of you? There's still a long way to go. Zhao Dahan's eyes darkened. He looked at Bailey Tianhai and bellowed, "Ah, no matter what." Could not bear to see Zhongqi so pleased with himself. However, Long Fei said in a deep voice, "Foolish, stop." It was obvious that because Zhao had shouted for the first move, the points had been cleared. This meant that there was no need to engage in a private duel. Whoever made the first move would be assessed as having 0 points. And that was their score. If they hadn't, they would have been eliminated immediately. Zhao Dahan was stopped by Long Fei. Bailey Tianhai was even more furious than Zhao Dahan, but when he saw Long Fei, he managed to suppress the anger on his body. He also knew that if they were to make a move again, this exam would most likely end up with no chance at all. It didn't matter if he failed the assessment, but the points that they had registered for the examination were all given to them by Long Fei, so it wouldn't be good if their boss was implicated. Zhongqi saw that Zhao Dahan and Bailey Tianhai had stopped, and was extremely pleased. Come, hit me. It was 0 points just now. If you make a move now, you will be directly eliminated. Ha ha ha. Aren't you all arrogant? Didn't you want to take revenge on me and kill me? Come on, come and kill me. Ha ha ha. He was incomparably arrogant and proud. Zhao Dahan clenched his teeth so hard that his teeth cracked. Bailey Tianhai was the same. His eyes stared straight at Zhongqi, wishing that he could smack Zhongqi's feces out of his mouth. Long Fei walked forward, smiled lightly, and said, "Last time you didn't eat enough **T. Don't worry, I'll let you eat enough." Zhongqi's expression immediately changed. He stared furiously at Long Fei and said, "Long Fei." Thinking about how Task Palace stuffed a pile of **T into his mouth, his stomach started to churn. From yesterday until now, he felt like vomiting when he saw what he ate. Anger raged. Long Fei laughed. "What are you calling your father for? Do you want your father to feed you feces? You." Zhongqi's eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. "Long Fei, this is the time of your death. Just you wait." Long Fei replied, "Don't worry, I've been waiting for this entire time. Anywhere. If you touch me now, I'll kill you now." Zhongqi sneered, and said, "I am not as foolish as your two brothers. I will make my move under the watch of the elders. You won't live long." Finished. Zhongqi flung his sleeves, and shouted, "Let's go." The group of minions quickly followed Zhongqi and disappeared into the forest. Zhao Dahan and Bailey Tianhai looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said lightly, "What happened at the South Heaven Gate?" He only knew that Zhongqi had stolen their contribution points token and injured them, and did not know the cruel scene. Bailey Tianhai said, "Big brother, can you leave his life to me?" Long Fei let out a light breath, and said, "Your cultivations have indeed become stronger, but it is clear that Zhongqi's cultivation is stronger than yours by a level. Just now, although you guys seem to have the upper hand, you actually ended up falling into his gloves. He knows the rules of this examination very well." Bailey Tianhai said, "I will pay attention next time. I will definitely take his life." Long Fei nodded his head, and said, "Okay, if you want to solve it yourself, then do it yourself." He didn't say anything more. Long Fei had originally wanted Demon Emperor to get a few Demon Beastess and beat him to death. This way, his points would not be deducted. But looking at the expression in Bailey Tianhai's eyes, he knew that if he didn't kill Zhongqi now, that anger in Bailey Tianhai's heart would not be quelled. At night, the valley was quiet. A black shadow lightly moved and disappeared in the blink of an eye. In the next moment, he landed by the side of Long Fei's cave. Under the moonlight, a shadow was imprinted onto the ground. Apart from the shadow, there was no other figure. Under the moonlight, a shadow was imprinted onto the ground. Apart from the shadow, there was no other figure. There was nothing around. It was like a ghostly shadow. Within the cave, Phoenix suddenly opened her eyes. His eyes flashed with a strange rainbow light. Inside the cave, everyone except for her, who had her eyes closed. She was either cultivating or sleeping, and she didn't notice anything amiss. Long Fei was the same. Closing his eyes, he started cultivating inside the refined space. He would not give up any time for cultivation. Inside refined space, he was still unceasingly cultivating his sword intent, and was unceasingly charging towards a higher realm. Phoenix did not move. He did not go out either. However, she did not continue to sleep, and her eyes slowly closed. Because the chi outside was not the chi of the people she was worried about, it was just the chi of the powerhouse in the outer sect. It didn't threaten her. The outside of the cave was silent, but the inside of the cave was also silent. The shadow moved slightly, beast breath. His aura suddenly changed. It directly turned into the aura of a demon beast, releasing the aura of a demon beast. In that instant, Long Fei and Yun Shi opened their eyes at the same time. They could all sense the beast breath coming from outside the cave. Yun Shi wanted to speak, but was stopped by Long Fei's silent gesture. Long Fei shook his head lightly, and carefully leaned Phoenix, who was leaning on his shoulder, against the side of the cliff. After doing all this, Long Fei slowly walked out of the cave. The moonlight shone down and shone on Long Fei's body. There were also no demon beastess. Strange. I could clearly feel the aura of the demon beast. Long Fei asked. He tried sensing it again. Just like before, there was still the aura of a demon beast, but he couldn't see any of the surrounding demon beast, and this aura was extremely close to him. It was as if he was right beside him. Long Fei carefully stood up and coldly said, "Who is it? Come out." As soon as his voice faded, there was no response from the surrounding people. His aura was the same, without any changes. Long Fei said again, "Since you're already here, there's no point if you continue to hide, right?" It was the same. There was still no response. F***CK. What's the situation? Long Fei said casually, retracting his own chi, and muttered, "Seems like I killed too many demon beasts in the day, my mental state is acting up." Long Fei's defenses were all gone. He looked relaxed. However, the opposite is true. Just as Long Fei turned around and left, revealing his back, the shadow under the tree moved slightly, treading on the grass without any sound. When he moved, he did not make any sound. Furthermore, his speed was extremely fast. It could be said that the shadow under the moonlight flashed past. A sword pierced straight towards the center of Long Fei's back. The corner of Long Fei's eyes trembled, and under his right hand, a fist surged, boom. He punched out heavily. Bam! The sound of something tearing through the air rang out. The power was extremely strong. However, the moment he swung his fist, the shadow disappeared. The punch hit the air, and the surroundings were as quiet as before. Huh! Long Fei frowned and thought, what kind of guy is this? Earlier, he could feel a killing intent behind him. He had never missed the feeling of killing intent. There must have been someone behind him just now. They just disappeared the instant his fist struck out. This person's speed could only be described as terrifying. Was it really my imagination? Looks like I'm really tired. Long Fei retracted his aura and turned to walk towards the cave. As he turned around, a shadow broke out from his shadow. This shadow also followed behind Long Fei. It was as if Long Fei had turned into two shadows all of a sudden. Long Fei did not notice. Arriving at the entrance of the cave, Yun Shi asked softly, "Have you found anything?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "Nothing." Yun Shi said, "It can't be the people from the Spirit Demon Tower, right?" Long Fei said, "I don't think so. If they wanted to take action, they would have done so earlier in the day. Forget it. Go back and rest. Tomorrow is the last day." Long Fei yawned and stepped into the cave. However, his body was frozen in place. He couldn't step into the dark cave. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't move his feet. Seeing Long Fei's strenuous appearance, Yun Shi asked with doubt, "What's wrong with you?" Long Fei withdrew his leg and laughed, "It's nothing, I suddenly want to do something big." Yun Shi asked, "Do you want to do something big? What's the big deal?" Long Fei said, "It's a big matter, of course it's a big matter, it's not big matters, do you need me to do it for you?" Yunshi was baffled by what he heard, and asked, "What exactly is going on?" Long Fei said, "Bullsh*T, do you have to say it so clearly?" Yunshi rolled his eyes as he walked into the cave first. Long Fei did not attempt to enter the cave. He knew that he was probably controlled by some kind of force, and he did not know if this force was aimed at him or Phoenix. What he needed to do now was to get as far away from the cave as possible. And then he stepped back. In the moonlight, his movements were free and unrestricted. After walking to the top of a mountain, Long Fei said with a heavy voice, "Come out, is there no point if you're still hiding? Do you want to kill me or do you want me to do something? If there's anything, just come out and talk about it." Even Long Fei did not realize that he had two shadows on him. This was also because a shadow had always been behind him. If one wasn't careful, they wouldn't have noticed it. After Long Fei finished speaking, there was still no response. Long Fei was a little unhappy. "Damn, what do you mean? So unsatisfied? Rub. It's pointless if you do that." The corner of Long Fei's eyes swept around, but he didn't discover anything at all. Just as he was about to ask Dragon Kwong, he discovered a black shadow under his crotch. There was another shadow at his side. Long Fei's mind tensed up. F***CK. Ghost. Long Fei pretended not to notice and retracted his right hand into his sleeves. Then, he summoned his divine lightning dagger. His aura surged as he unleashed all of his battle power. His dagger fiercely stabbed towards the side. "Die," Long Fei said in a heavy voice. Then, the moment he lifted up the divine lightning dagger, his body suddenly stiffened. The divine lightning dagger was not piercing the side, but himself. Under the moonlight, he lifted the dagger and stabbed it between his eyebrows. Long Fei's eyes flashed with the coldness of the divine thunder dagger. The idea moved, wanting to retract its power. But not at all. His body did not stop being controlled, as if it was someone else's body that had lost control of itself. The dagger descended, and the sharp dagger was already at his forehead. A stream of blood flowed out from the wound. Shadow control technique? Shadow control technique? This was even more powerful than shadow control. Because he could not even see the people controlling Long Fei, nor did he see Long Fei's shadow being controlled. It was as if his body was not under his control at the moment. The dagger went deeper and deeper into his body. It was already 1/2 centimeter into the space between his eyebrows and was about to pierce his skull. A trace of cold sweat seeped out from Long Fei's palm. "Your father is about to die. Can you let me see what you look like before I die? I want to know when exactly did I get hit by your shadow control skill. Can I have a look? To be able to die in the hands of a powerhouse like you, I admit defeat. Before I die, let me meet you once. If I were to be reincarnated in my next life, it would be easy for me to recognize you." Long Fei said anxiously. His body was shaking. However, his eyes were tightly shut. At this moment, the shadow behind him moved slightly. With a curve of his lips and a flash of his shadow, a person appeared in front of him out of thin air. "Do you still want to get revenge on me after being reborn?" It suddenly appeared. Long Fei really did not expect this. Moreover, the shadow behind him disappeared. Long Fei said, "I will not wait for my next life to take revenge." The man laughed sinisterly. "You also don't have a next life. When I, the shadow god, kill someone, I will never give the target the chance to reincarnate. The moment I make a move, it will be soul flying." Long Fei asked, "Shadow god? Can you let me know who it is that wants to kill me?" The shadow god looked at Long Fei's embarrassed expression and said proudly, "You're going to die soon anyway, there's no harm telling you, it's someone from your ancient antiquity." Ancient antiquity? Long Fei became anxious secretly. Lin Yuan? No, although he is a disciple that Beast Mountain is proud of, with his strength, he is still unable to recruit such a high-level killer. If it wasn't for him, then there's only one person left. Dong Tiankue. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. "You dog." The shadow god gave a faint smile and said, "You're very smart. Right. Hand over that fire essence before you die. This way, you will die a little more comfortably, at least you won't feel too much pain. To him, Long Fei was already a dead fish on the chopping block, he could not jump up at all. There was no harm in telling him something. Moreover, Long Fei's goal was perfect, to use his shadow's power to perfection. Thus, he was very proud in his heart. He wanted to show off his pride. However, the corner of Long Fei's mouth suddenly curved up, revealing a perfect curve of a smile. Seeing the slight smile on Long Fei's lips, the shadow god's forehead tightened, as if he felt that something was wrong. However, it was too late for him to observe in Ming Rui. Boom. Level 5 Ancient Dragon Body. Explode for me. Roar. With a dragon's roar, the power on Long Fei's body instantly exploded. His body sank and Long Fei instantly controlled his own body. Dragon power crushed down. Bam! Not waiting for Shadow God to hide, he was immediately crushed by the dragon aura. His entire body knelt on the ground. Splash! His knees cracked, and blood spurted out from his wounds. Long Fei sneered, and said, "What did I say just now? I will never wait for my next life. I will take revenge on the spot." The Shadow God's eyes darkened. Sensing Long Fei's powerful aura, he said solemnly, "Impossible, my shadow control technique. Even if you're stronger than me, you still won't be able to break through. You won't be able to break free." Long Fei laughed. "Cultivation level? He. To me, your cultivation base is useless." The Shadow God began to shiver. The dragon power crushed his mind and his sea of consciousness was completely unable to move. Even the strongest Emperor swordsman would not be able to do that. "Spare my life. I'm willing to be your slave. I just want you to spare my life." The Shadow God kneeled and begged. Any living being wants to live. No one wanted to die. It was the same with killers. Long Fei laughed. "Did you think of sparing my life just now? What did you say just now? The people from the Dark God tribe will not spare you. Let alone a mere ancient antiquity like you. Even if all the sects within a 10 billion radius were to add up, they would still not be a match for our Dark God tribe. Let me go. Hello, I'm good. Everyone is good. I can also assure you that no one in the Dark God tribe will ever come to kill you again." Dark God tribe. It was Long Fei's first time hearing about this assassination organization, and he couldn't help but miss the three sisters. Seeing Long Fei's thoughtful expression, the Shadow God asked, "How is it?" "Let me tell you the truth, our Dark God tribe doesn't have one. Even Divine Space has its own branch power organization. Furthermore, our Dark God tribe is one of the powers of the Xians." Offended the Xians? You know the consequences. Long Fei frowned, and laughed with interest. "Xians? That Emperor Xian's Xians?" The Emperor Xian is the current patriarch of the current Xians, and also the #1 powerhouse of the Divine Space. In a short while, he will become the god of boundary, and take over the entire ancient world, and become the true god of master. Oh! Long Fei's soft voice interrupted the Shadow God's speech. Then, his aura trembled slightly as the dragon's might grew even stronger. Boom! The Shadow God's body exploded into dust. Not even a dregs were left behind. Dark God tribe. Xians. Emperor Xian. He. Long Fei's face revealed a sinister sneer, his fists tightly clenched. His entire aura was like an azura that came from the depths of hell, emitting dense killing intent. The entire valley was filled with an incomparably thick killing intent. His eyes turned red. The dragon spirit shadow on his body that seemed to be solid also became more ferocious. He went into a rage. His aura had also entered a berserk state, and all of the ancient antiquity and outer court disciples in the entire valley were crushed to the point that they couldn't even breathe. All of their faces were filled with incomparable pain. Even the demon restaurant was shaken by this news. He was going crazy, going berserk. Demon Emperor's legs released a golden light, his eyes moved, instantly locking onto Long Fei. He could feel the strong killing intent from Long Fei's body. His mind trembled. This killing intent. It can simply destroy everything. Just what kind of hatred could unleash such a powerful killing intent? This brat's strength. The demon emperor was secretly shocked, feeling that the decision she made during the day was the real deal. Long Fei's potential had exceeded his expectations. At this moment, a little girl suddenly appeared beside Long Fei. Phoenix. Phoenix's eyes glowed with a seven-colored light as he looked at the scarlet-red pupils. He softly uttered, "My honey, Buzz." Long Fei's gaze swept across, and looked at the great phoenix. At that moment, the killing intent he released suddenly vanished. Little girl. Everyone in the entire valley let out a heavy sigh. If they did not retract their killing intent, then most likely all of the outer sect disciples would be crushed to death by this killing intent. In another place, one of the black-clothed men suddenly opened his eyes as the corner of his mouth slightly hooked up. Fang Wanpeng felt the black shadows sneer, and his mind started to tremble non-stop. Ancient Antiquity, Main Hall. Ancient Antiquity, Main Hall. The Grand Master was in closed-door cultivation, while the Grand Elder was in charge of the sect's daily affairs. Great Elder, the exchange between our ancient world's fan sect is in 2 months. For the selection of the name list this time, do you have any suggestions? Is it still the same as before? Every mountain has sent their best disciples to participate. At the fan sect exchange, as the name implied, it was a competition of strength between sects in the mortal world. Ancient Antiquity's position in the mortal world was not high, but he would still participate in this competition. The headmaster thought for a moment and said, "We still have 2 months to deal with the disciples that are participating in the inner sect examination. How is it?" Many elder of inner houses in the palace were slightly astonished. To put it bluntly, the inner sect examination was to give those outer court disciples a shred of hope so that they wouldn't lose the motivation to work hard. But, after so many years had passed, only a few disciples had passed the test. Even if they passed the test and entered the inner court's construction was incomparably low, and it was difficult for them to achieve anything big. Diligence can make up for incompetence, but one thing must be admitted. Martial arts training, talent has a decisive effect. The rookie selection and display of talent was the most crucial. If he was not selected at that time, he would be sentenced to death. Even entering the inner sect wouldn't do much. To the inner court disciple test, this was a small matter that didn't really matter. To the fan sect exchange, the inner sect examination was not even worth mentioning, so not many people in Elder of Inner House cared about it. The inner court disciple test wasn't taken seriously at all. However, who would have thought that the great elder would suddenly bring up this matter? Moreover, he even put aside the matter of the worldly martial schools exchange. This caused them to be extremely astonished. One of the elders said, "It should be around the same every year, but no one has been able to pass the inner sect examination. Even if they did, their talent would be low and it would be hard to do anything." Yeah, if your talent is extraordinary, you would have already been selected during the rookie selection. You wouldn't have had to wait to participate in the inner disciple exam to prove yourself. Just some outer court disciples. The assessment is only to give them hope. Right now, it should be the first round of the exams. Not many people cared about the inner sect examination. Thus, no one knew how the outer sect examination was progressing. The great elder said indifferently, "The inner sect examination is also a type of test. Maybe the talent shown in the rookie selection did not stimulate their talent, so we should give them a few more chances." Hearing the great elder's words, everyone immediately echoed him. Grand Elder is right, we can't kill everyone with a single blow. We should give them more chances. That's right. Although he said this, no one in their hearts cared about the inner sect examination. Besides one other person. This man was the sect leader of the Horcrux's Gate, Dong Tiankue. After hearing what the great elder had said today, he was slightly worried. Obviously, the great clan elder had set his eyes on Long Fei. Once Long Fei entered the inner sect and was selected by the great clan elder, it would be impossible for him to obtain more highest grade fire soul. Moreover, Long Fei was the only one who knew what had happened in the Fireball Cave. If these things were to be exposed, then his Horcrux's Gate sect leader would not need to continue being one. Thus, Long Fei had to die. Fortunately, we invited assassins from the Dark God tribe. Otherwise, if we let this brat pass the examination, the consequences would be bad. Dong Tiankue secretly sneered in his heart. From his point of view, Long Fei was already dead. Many of the elders were talking back and forth, but no one knew the gist of it. The great elder did not ask any further and let the crowd disperse. Lu Xun walked into the hall, bowed slightly, and said, "Master, there is only one last day left for the first trial. It should be safe and sound." The great elder raised his gaze and asked, "How is that boy?" Lu Xun said, "He alone forced back all of the Spirit Demon King level demon beast, and also heavily injured the Demon Emperor's centipede, the ancient region." An. The great clan elder's gaze became deep and revealed a satisfied smile, and said, "You did not misjudge me. The Master Swordsman rank was actually able to heavily injure the Spirit Demon Emperor. Ha ha ha. He really is a monstrous genius who only appears once every 10,000 years." In front of Lu Xun, the great elder didn't conceal the fact that he liked Long Fei at all. The great clan elder continued, "And what?" "Continue to speak." Lu Xun said, "Furthermore, when the ancient regions are severely injured and are about to die, chaos occurs in space, and when it returns to normal, the ancient regions will disappear and the demon beast in the Demon Valley will all retreat like the tide. Right now, not a single demon beast can be found in the entire Demon Valley. Disorder of space." The great clan elder frowned and asked, "What happened next? How's the kid doing?" Lu Xun said, "Long Fei is fine." The great clan elder relaxed a little and continued to ponder, "Space is chaotic. The only person with the ability to cause space disorder should be the Demon Emperor, right? Even the Demon Emperor made his move. He's fine. Could it be?" The great clan elder immediately laughed, "Ha ha ha. Good brat, could it be that you have made even Demon Emperor afraid?" Lu Xun asked, "Demon Emperor?" The great clan elder said, "Demon Emperor knows the magic space spell, and you can tell that it is extremely strong. I didn't expect that Demon Emperor would actually come out. Seems like Demon Emperor and Long Fei have reached an agreement, right? Interesting, interesting. Lu Xun, seems like our ancient antiquity has a good chance of participating in this year's exchange. Not only the exchange, we will also have a chance to participate in the selection of the Divine Space's disciples." The great elder said excitedly. Lu Xun's expression tightened, and his eyes revealed an envious look. The great clan elder did not notice the look in Lu Xun's eyes. "Lu Xun, pay more attention to the assessment. I'm worried that someone might come up with something," the great elder said. Lu Xun nodded and said, "I will take note of it." Early morning. Long Fei opened his eyes slightly. Walking out of the cave, he stretched his back and took a deep breath. Phoenix also followed along, leaning on Long Fei's waist, her face full of happiness. Long Fei said softly, "Don't use your strength carelessly in the future." Thinking back to last night, Long Fei felt somewhat guilty in his heart. If it wasn't for the look in the Phoenix's eyes, he might have continued to rampage. Phoenix nodded and replied, "En." Looking at her smiling face, Long Fei couldn't help but pinch her lightly and said, "Girl, did I meet you in my previous life?" Phoenix nodded her head like a chick pecking rice. "Yes, yes, yes. The first time I saw you, I thought I had seen you before. Next time, when I return to Phoenix Valley, I will ask Aunt to open my memories from my previous life. I will know then, hihi." Long Fei asked, "Is Phoenix Valley very far away?" Phoenix raised her head to look at the sky and said, "It's a bit far." At this moment, buzz, 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 buzz. At the same time, 5 different colored lights burst out from the cave. 5 colors burst forth from the cave. 5 colors burst forth from the cave. Zhao Dahan ran out of the cave in a hurry and shouted at Long Fei, "Big brother, come take a look, it's incredible." Long Fei looked at the color that burst out from the cave and immediately became excited. Has Brothers of 5 Elements awakened its power? He quickly walked towards the cave. Phoenix watched as Long Fei hurriedly walked into the cave. She also smiled. Just as she wanted to follow him, a voice resounded in her mind. The space between Phoenix's eyebrows tightened slightly. Instead of following Long Fei into the cave, he retreated slightly and disappeared into the dark forest in the blink of an eye. Within the cave of the 5, each one of them had something similar to a ball of fire burning in their abdomen. Everyone's color was different. But from its appearance, it could be seen that it was made of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Long Fei looked at them and asked, "Have you awakened?" Yunshi stood by Long Fei's side, his eyes filled with shock. "How do you know about their hidden talents?" "The power of the 5 elements. Furthermore, to be able to find 5 people at once, this." Yunshi was in disbelief. It was very difficult to find the power of the 5 elements. Even if there was only 1 or 2 of them, it would be very difficult to find all 5 of them. It had to be said that Long Fei's eyes were very unique. This was something that not even the powerhouse of the divine space could do. Long Fei laughed. "Isn't that awesome?" Although Yunshi could not bear to see Long Fei's wretched and excited look, he had no choice but to admit it. Even the S of the divine space can't do it. If no accidents happens to the 5 of them, as long as they are discovered by the powerhouse S of the divine space, they don't need to do anything to be directly connected to the divine space. Bailey Tianhai trembled, and said, "That's strong." Yunshi said, "The power of the 5 elements is already strong. If they had received professional training, their power might have reached the peak of the 9th grade god state, or even higher." Bailey Tianhai said, "As expected, talent determines everything. The power of the 5 elements, 5 different types of special powers. Not only do their strengths have different attributes, they also have many special uses. For example, to borrow the power of the 5 elements to train. And then again. 5 elements control 10,000 forces." As he spoke, Yunshi looked towards Long Fei. His heart was shocked. When she saw the brothers of 5 elements, she did not notice the strange power in their bodies. Their talent was completely 0. But now, it seemed, she had been ridiculously wrong. And also understood that those who could make Long Fei bring them would definitely not be simple. She was getting more and more confused towards Long Fei. It wasn't that she hadn't seen the disciples of the Dragon Clan before, it wasn't that she hadn't seen them before. It was just that. Even if a Dragon Clan powerhouse was reincarnated, they would not be able to have such abilities. Long Fei had far surpassed the Dragon Clan powerhouse she had seen. With the destruction of the Dragon Vein Mountain, was he the only hope for the dragon race? "I don't understand." Long Fei looked at Yunshi, who was staring at him, and could not help but laugh. "Why are you looking at me like that for? Did you find me more handsome than before?" Yunshi rolled his eyes as the expression in his eyes turned ice-cold in an instant. Long Fei laughed and said, "My eyes can see everything in the world, not to mention their hidden inherent skill. Even what color underwear you are wearing today, I would also be able to see through it." Before he could finish his words, Yunshi ran out of the dagger and directly landed on Long Fei's neck, and said sinisterly, "Try saying another word." His eyes were filled with killing intent. If Long Fei said one more word, she would really make her move. Long Fei immediately said, "Are you willing to kill me? You have to recognize yourself. Don't you know that you are already in love with me?" Yunshi's eyes became angry, and said, "Only a ghost would fall in love with an old rogue like you." Long Fei said, "Don't be stubborn, even the way you look at me is wrong. Are you admitting it?" While they were talking, Long Fei's body moved, and he immediately turned around to hug Yunshi in his arms. Bailey Tianhai let out a long sigh, and said, "Big brother, there's still people in this cave, can you be more careful?" "Is that so? Girl?" Bailey Tianhai searched for Phoenix in the cave. However, there were no phoenixes in the cave. Long Fei's gaze also tightened, and with a flick of his body, he seemed to instantly fly out of the cave, and fiercely shouted, "Girl!" In the gloomy forest. The surroundings were completely silent, not a single sound could be heard. Everything was still. Time stopped. This was a special space. Demon Emperor knelt on one knee, and Phoenix was standing in front of him. When Phoenix heard Long Fei's voice, she lightly said, "I'm going back." Demon Emperor said, "Miss, when will you be going back?" "The Phoenix Valley has gone mad from anxiety. They have been looking for you everywhere, activating all the spirit demon race. The divine space has flipped too." Phoenix said, "Time is up, I will naturally go back. I do not want to go back yet, Demon Emperor asked. Is it because of that brat? Phoenix's eyes turned cold. Demon Emperor immediately lowered his head to the ground. Phoenix's cold voice rang out. You wanted to use him yesterday? Demon Emperor immediately said, I wouldn't dare, how would I dare? Phoenix said, if you don't dare, that's for the best. No one can touch him. And what's in the ancient box that you gave him yesterday? Demon Emperor replied, I don't know either. I found this in a crack of time. It might be an object from another realm and requires the Sky Profound key to open it. Phoenix said, it would be best if that was the case. If you harm him, you and your race will forever disappear from this world. Demon Emperor was sweating profusely and did not even dare to breathe heavily. There was a moment of silence. Phoenix wanted to leave. She said, have someone send a message to my aunt saying that I am very safe and that there is no need to find me. When the time comes, I will return. Demon Emperor did not dare to say more, and said, as you command. Phoenix left. Demon Emperor knelt for a full 10 minutes before he slowly got up. At this moment, he was soaked through and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. In front of the Phoenix, in the face of that divine might of the Phoenix, he felt that he was not even comparable to an ant. At the same time, the Demon Emperor was very glad. If he had really made a move on Long Fei yesterday, then all of the demons in the All of Mount Lai would probably die. Where did you go? Long Fei watched Phoenix walk out of the forest and heaved a sigh of relief. Phoenix regained the innocent look on her face. She giggled and said, I'm going down the mountain to find something to eat. My stomach is so hungry. There's nothing in this valley. Long Fei said, tell me about it even if you're looking for food. Phoenix acted like a little girl who had just done something. She lowered her head and said, I'm sorry, my honey. I was wrong. Long Fei felt his heart ache, and quickly replied, I'm fine, I'm fine. The exam is about to end. I'll grill it for you when the time comes. Phoenix immediately jumped up in excitement. Yay, noon. A voice came from the valley, the first stage of the assessment has ended. Nothing happened on the way back. Nothing happened on the way back. Forget about Demon Beastess, they hadn't even encountered a single wild beast. Ancient Antiquity, Outer Sec. Your results will be announced tomorrow morning. The ones who passed the first round will enter the second round. Alright, go back and rest. The Great Elder announced and everyone disbanded. Many disciples were discussing who would pass the exam. Needless to say, it's definitely the first place candidate Zhongqi has passed the examination. Of course. The Sword Immortal's senior brother must have also passed. Those who hunt down Demon Beast will all pass the examination, but I just don't know who else will pass besides them. Other than them, I'm afraid there's nothing else. Back in the yard, Bailey Tianhai said worriedly, Big brother, right now we all have 0 points, will we be able to get the first round of the examination? Zhao Dahan said, this assessment is too unfair, if we fought in the wrong way, what about you, boss? After killing so many demon beast, you would add 10 evaluation points. If they were to grade according to the score, then none of them would be able to make it into the second round. Long Fei also frowned, not knowing what the elders would choose to do. However, Long Fei smiled faintly and said, don't worry, we'll know tomorrow. Everyone, have a good rest tonight and show off your talent tomorrow. This stage is very important, so you must be full of energy. Yunshi walked in front of Long Fei and said, do you want me to tell you something? Long Fei shook his head and said, there's no need to trouble yourself. There's no loss for us. The inner sect was good. There were many cultivation resources. However, with Long Quang's help, it was the same no matter where they trained. However, Long Fei thought of Liu Luoshi, and felt guilty for not being able to fulfill his promise. Yunshi said, alright, I'll go back first. Yunshi left. Phoenix pulled Long Fei's arm and asked, my darling, where is the barbecue you promised me? My tummy is so hungry. Long Fei scratched Phoenix's small nose and said, alright, as long as you are greedy. I'll go buy some food. I'll let you eat your fill tonight. Outer Court, Elder Pavilion. Dong Tiankue waved the flaming feather fan in his hand, and with a glance at outer door great presbyter, he said, "Do you understand what I mean?" The great clan elder bent his knees and bowed, then nodded his head. "Don't worry, Mornaine Peak Lord Dong, I will definitely do as you say." Dong Tiankue said indifferently, "What if someone asks?" The great elder immediately said, "Don't worry. I've only judged based on the score. I'll stand straight when people ask me about it." Dong Tiankue smiled and said, "Very good. Here are 10 third-rank holy source stones. Take it to cultivate with. After this is done, there will be a big reward. Maybe it will allow you to enter the inner court and become an elder." The great clan elder's eyes lit up, he became excited, and said, "Thank you, Lord Peak Owner." Dong Tiankue waved his hand, "Go and do your thing." The great elder replied, "Yes." The great clan elder left the room. Dong Tiankue's eyes turned sinister in an instant. Did Dark God tribe fail as well? It's really useless. They can't even handle an outer disciple, and you still say that in the mortal world, there's no one they can't kill. Even the bull blows to the sky. He did not expect the Dark God tribe to fail. After all, it's the Dark God tribe, the #1 assassination organization in ancient world. He had never failed before. But now, Dong Tiankue was extremely unhappy. His cultivation was already stagnant, and if he did not obtain the highest grade fire soul, his cultivation would regress, and at that time, he would not be able to keep his position as sect leader. Other than the fact that Long Fei had highest grade fire soulless on him, he could not find a second person in the entire ancient antiquity. Only Long Fei. You want to enter the inner sect? Humph. Even if Grand Elder protects you, you can forget about stepping into the inner court. Dong Tiankue's eyes narrowed, he could not allow Long Fei to enter the inner sect. The great clan elder had already set his eyes on Long Fei, so once Long Fei entered the inner sect, he would definitely enter main hall, and at that time, it would be very troublesome for him to even think about making a move against Long Fei. Thus, Long Fei absolutely could not be allowed to enter the inner sect. Absolutely not. If an outer court disciple died, then so be it. Even the great elder wouldn't do anything to him, but an inner court disciple was different. In the inner sect examination, a great deal of power lay in the hands of the exam masters, as long as they could do something to Long Fei and the rest. Then they also didn't have the qualifications to participate in the second round. I've lost patience. Just you wait. You won't live much longer. Even if I don't do anything, the people of Dark God tribe will not give up. They have never failed, and they will not allow any failure. Kid, just you wait. The corners of Dong Tiankue's mouth curled up coldly. Useless thing. You can't even do this little thing properly. What's the use of you? You want to enter the inner sect? Do you think you're qualified? Lin Yuan was extremely angry. The moment he found out that Long Fei had returned alive, he was extremely displeased. Zhong Qi's body trembled slightly, and he said, "Senior brother, there really aren't any good opportunities in the Demon Valley, and there are many elders monitoring them. Once they discover all of his points, they will all be reset to 0, and that brat has been hiding all this time. I won't be able to find any opportunities." It was a lie that he could not find Long Fei. He was afraid that it was true. If he were to get 0 points, then he would lose the qualifications to make the second round, which was why he did not make a move against Long Fei in the Demon Valley. Lin Yuan's eyes flashed with a cold glint, and with a backhand slap, he said fiercely, "Is this your reason? You're telling me this nonsense?" Zhong Qi's face was covered with blood. He kneeled on the ground and said, "Don't worry, senior brother, in the third round, if I meet him, I will definitely let him die." Lin Yuan laughed coldly and said, "Third round? Humph. Zhong Qi, oh Zhong Qi, are you playing a little trick on me? You want to protect yourself first. I can make you fail the first stage with a single sentence. Do you believe me?" Lin Yuan said coldly. Zhong Qi suddenly kowtowed, "Senior brother, I was wrong. Please give me one more chance. I will definitely kill him. Please. I will definitely kill him in the third round." Lin Yuan looked at Zhong Qi. "I see that you are just like a dog right now. As a dog, you have to be an obedient dog, otherwise there is no need for you to live in this world." Zhongqi immediately said, I am an obedient dog. Senior brother asks that you give me a chance. I will definitely kill him. Early morning. Early morning. Brothers of 5 Elements Elder had been guarding the outer gate plaza since a long time ago. They were anxiously waiting. They did not care if they passed the examination. They wanted to notify Long Fei as soon as possible, and know if Long Fei had passed or not. There was a sea of people on the plaza and many of them were like the brothers of 5 Elements. He wanted to know who passed the examination at the first possible moment. Who will pass? The results of this year's exam are all better than the previous ones. This year, there are a lot more survivors from the mountain range than before. I wonder how many people will be able to make it through the second round. Senior brother Zhongqi will definitely pass. That's a must. Those are the people who killed the demon beast. I heard that someone scored a negative in the individual assessment this time. Who is this incredible genius? Ha ha ha. Negative. Ha ha ha. Truly awesome. It's rare to encounter a negative score in 1,000 years. That negative disciple seems to be called Long Fei. He really is a rare genius. Many people were laughing at him. When the brothers of 5 Elements heard this, they were very unhappy, and all of their faces were filled with anger. At this moment, an elder walked out with a name list in his hand, and all the disciples gathered around him. This is the list of candidates for the second round. The results were announced. Sword Immortal Senior Brother S, first place, passed the examination. Zhongqi, second place. Ha ha ha. I already said that Senior Brother Zhongqi would definitely pass the examination. I've also passed the examination. My name is on it. Ha ha ha. My name is also here. Oh my god, I even thought that I would be eliminated. I didn't expect that. Ha ha ha. Father, Mother, did you see it from the sky? It's been 200 years. I've finally passed the first round of assessments. Yes, we have the boss's name. Boss Long Fei has it. Bailey Tianhai and Big Brother Zhao Dehan have it too. Wait. And our names, ha ha ha. We've also passed the examination, and we're. When the 5 of them saw their names, their eyes filled with tears and excitement. They had never thought that they would be able to pass the exam. Following that, the 5 of them rushed back. He passed. He passed. Along the way, they all shouted loudly, just like they had in their past life when they were admitted into famous universities. Long Fei walked out of the room and asked, Did you pass? Fire replied, Yes, he passed. Boss, Big Brother Tianhai, even Big Brother Charming has passed. Big Sister Yun, she has also passed. It seems like all the people that came out of the Demon Valley have passed. This year is very special. Long Fei laughed, It's good that you passed. Tomorrow will be your talent display. You still have a day of cultivation time. Work harder. The 5 of them nodded and said, Thank you, boss. Without Long Fei, they would not be where they are now. Are you kidding me? Boom. Bang. With a loud explosion, Dong Tiankue became extremely furious and the pressure on his body exploded, crushing outer door Great Presbyter down until he knelt on the ground. The Great Clan Elder said anxiously, Mornain Peak Lord Dong, I am really not messing with you. The name list was not given to you by me, it was directly confirmed by the Great Clan Elder of the inner sect. As long as those who survived the first round of examination pass, they will all be given the first round. I am just a outer door presbyter. How would I dare to change the decision of the Great Clan Elder? Mornain Peak Lord Dong, please look into it. Dong Tiankue's pupils tightened. Are you saying that this list was chosen by the Great Clan Elder? When did this happen? Outer door Great Presbyter said, After I left your place, Great Clan Elder's disciple Lu Zun came over with his order badge. How would an elder of my level dare to say anything? Moreover, there is the Great Elder's command medallion. The muscles at the corner of Dong Tiankue's eyes twitched, his fists were clenched tightly, making explosive sounds, and he shouted, Damnable thing! Outer door Great Presbyter's gaze turned cold. Dong Tiankue coldly snorted, and said, Regarding this matter, you. The outer door Great Presbyter immediately replied, I don't know about this at all. This has never happened before. Dong Tiankue said coldly, "Smart people can live a little longer. You are very smart, but don't be too smart. Otherwise, he might disappear from this world one day. Do you understand?" Outer door Great Presbyter was so scared that his entire body was trembling. He quickly kowtowed and said, "I understand, I understand." "Go out!" Dong Tiankue shouted. Outer door Great Presbyter quickly left the room. It was also at this time. Within the room, a ball of infernal energy appeared out of nowhere. An old man dressed in a black robe walked out from the black aura. There was a dark word embroidered on the old man's chest. Dong Tiankue's mind instantly became ice cold, and his face turned cold. You're from the Dark God tribe?" The elder said coldly, "The Shadow God has failed. The organization sends me to settle this matter and tell me where he is." A trace of excitement flashed across Dong Tiankue's eyes, and he said, "I already said that Dark God tribe is ancient world's #1 assassination association. You truly live up to your name." "Only, Master, it's not good for you to kill people in ancient antiquity, right?" The old man raised his ghostly eyes, and said coldly, "So what if you kill people in ancient antiquity? Let alone the outer sect of ancient antiquity, even if I had to kill him in front of your sect master or fire arrogant goddess, I would still not let go." Very arrogant. A madness that came from the depths of his bones. Moreover, this sort of arrogance was not the sort that acted arrogantly and acted arrogantly. Rather, it was the type that possessed great strength. Even the fire-arrogant god did not take him seriously. How strong was the Dark God tribe? Dong Tiankue became even more excited, and said, "I do not wish to expose myself, so can Sire please stay for 2 days. Tomorrow will be the second round's talent display, the day after tomorrow will be the martial arena. At that time, when fighting arena kills him, no one will suspect me." "My lord, is this okay?" According to the contract, you should help me get what I want." Dong Tiankue did not forget about the highest grade fire soul. But the old man did not even want to waste words with him, and directly said, "I already said, even if the fire-arrogant god was in front of me, I would still kill him without holding back. You can't waste my time. As for the thing that you want, when the time comes, I will give his space ring to you. You can look for it yourself. Now tell me where he is." The Shadow God's failure made the Dark God tribe's higher-ups very dissatisfied. Ever since Xian's secretly established this assassination organization, not to mention the mortal world, even in the divine space, assassinating those divine powerhouse had never failed. It was the only time. The higher-ups were extremely dissatisfied, as they had to get rid of this goal in the shortest amount of time possible to restore Dark God tribe's reputation. Dong Tiankue thought for a while, then said in his heart, "That's fine, it's also good to get rid of this disaster as soon as possible." And then, Dong Tiankue said, "Right now, he is in the outer sect disciples' residence. At the back mountain, in a remote little courtyard, it is very easy to find." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, the old man had disappeared. In the refined space, Long Fei was still unceasingly cultivating his sword intent. In the refined space, Long Fei was still unceasingly cultivating his sword intent. Sword intent was everything to swordsmen. Will could raise one's cultivation, increase the strength of the sword, control the sword intent, and break through the shackles. Huff! Long Fei secretly tightened between his brows, and let out a light breath. As his heart surged, the sword intent of the master swordsman rank on his body was released, and extended outwards. The sword intent he had released out of his body had come together. Slowly condensing. Done. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he roared. As the sword intent condensed and condensed, a model of a long sword slowly appeared. Condensing chi into a sword, the master swordsman rank had to go through in order to break through the sword immortal realm. The immortal sword of chi condensation. The rushing chi sword could fly 10,000 kilometers in one go. The sword kept transforming into substance, from the hilt to the blade. All sorts of patterns appeared on the surface of the sword. Just a little more. Just a little more. As long as I succeed in condensing my chi into a sword, I will be able to quickly step into the immortal swordsman rank. At that time, I will be able to enter the instance dungeon. Long Fei's mind tensed up. He used all his strength to make his sword intent stronger and stronger. The sword was about to be condensed successfully. But, boom! The sword intent suddenly let out a loud rumble, and the entire sword shape instantly ruptured, and the sword intent instantly turned into nothingness. Nothing. Long Fei's body also sank as he heavily gasped for air. Phew. Just a little more, just a little more. Long Fei was not frustrated because of his failure to form the chi into a sword, but on the contrary, he was excited. Because he had improved a lot this time. Moreover, for the other sword cultivators, they would need to wait until the immortal swordsman rank to form their sword, where Long Fei was only at the 5th stage of Sword Lord. The formation of a sword was still too far away from his current cultivation level, but he had almost succeeded. This was something that other sword cultivators did not even dare to think about. Huff. Again, Long Fei did not give up and continued to cultivate. The phoenix was eating Long Fei's special roast meat, its mouth dripping with oil and its face full of bliss, as if it had gained the entire world. Delicious. My honey is so powerful. But, Phoenix glanced at Long Fei's room, her small mouth muttering to herself, what should I do if I'm not by your side anymore? Can you still eat such delicious barbecue? Phoenix felt somewhat disappointed. She knew that one day she would leave, and that day was getting closer. She had to return to the Phoenix Valley. There was no way to escape, nor could she. She knew it. Every time she thought about how she had to leave Long Fei, she felt a little sad. She wanted to stay by Long Fei's side and accompany him. Every day by Long Fei's side, she was very happy. This was something she had never done before. When I return to Phoenix Valley, and finish what I need to do, I will follow beside my darling, hey. Phoenix giggled and picked up another piece of meat that was roasted to be extremely fragrant. At this moment, a mass of black infernal energy suddenly descended. Phoenix, who did not see anything, just continued eating the roasted meat. As the killing intent dissipated into nothingness, the old man walked out. Looking at the little girl in the courtyard, his eyes were slightly startled. Such an exquisite young lady. If she grows up to be this pretty, what will happen to her? He had to say it. Anyone who had seen the phoenix would be attracted by her exquisite appearance, the type that could not be resisted. The old man was the same. A trace of benevolence appeared in her ice-cold eyes. She walked to Phoenix's side and said softly, "Little lady, are you alone?" Phoenix raised her head and looked at the old man. She shook her head and said, "They are cultivating in the house." As he said that, he started eating the barbecue again. What he was eating was something he enjoyed, which made him swallow his saliva. The old man glanced at the room, then looked at Phoenix and said, "Little girl, after I'm done with my matters, you can come with me and be my little Daotong." He really liked the phoenix. Especially the phoenix's incomparably pure eyes, which were like a pool of spring water. They were pure and innocent without the slightest bit of impurities. People couldn't help but like it. Phoenix asked, "Does your Daotong have barbecue to eat?" The elder laughed, "You can have anything you want." The more he thought about it, the more innocent he felt. Phoenix asked again, "Is there such a delicious barbecue?" The old man said, "Of course I do. You can eat any delicacy you want. As my Daotong, I can give you anything." Phoenix giggled and said, "No, because no one in this world can make such a delicious barbecue." The old man said, "I have the world's most powerful chef." Without waiting for him to finish, Phoenix said, "Let me give you a taste. You will know that your cooks are not worth mentioning." There was only a small piece of meat left for the phoenix to grill. It wasn't a lot because she was afraid that she wouldn't be able to eat enough. The elder took it and hesitated for a moment. Then, he put it into his mouth and began to chew it carefully. He swallowed it and said, "It is indeed not bad." Phoenix smiled and said, "Not bad, right? Do you know who roasted this meat?" The phoenix rose up proudly and said, "It's my darling's grilled meat, the most delicious under the heavens." The old man said, "Roast meat is not bad, but if you want to eat more roasted meat, you must live longer. I can let you live for a very long time. After I'm done with my business, you can come with me." Phoenix looked at the old man and asked, "What business do you have here?" The elder said, "Kill a person." Phoenix asked, "Who should we kill?" The old man said, "Kill a brat called Long Fei." There were no ripples in Phoenix's eyes, she was still as innocent as before. "Oh, can I not kill him?" The elder said, "Do you know him?" Phoenix nodded her head and said, "I do, he is my darling, can you not kill him?" The old man laughed and said, "No, someone paid for his head and we have already accepted his mission. We will not stop until we complete the mission, so I'm sorry." He did not want to hurt Phoenix. In his heart, he was still thinking of taking in Phoenix as a Daotong by his side. "No need to say sorry." Phoenix's voice was indifferent. She continued eating the roasted meat in her hand and said, "Because I will not let anyone hurt him." The elder smiled and asked, "You?" Phoenix said, "Yes, it's me. I won't let you hurt him." The elder laughed even louder, "Little girl, I want to know how you are going to stop me." Phoenix's face was calm as she said, "Do you still remember the barbecue that you just ate?" The old man's brows suddenly tightened, the holy sauce moved, wanting to spit out the barbecue meat that he had just swallowed. Phoenix smiled and said, "It's useless to spit it out." The old man's eyes became vicious as he stared at the phoenix and asked, "Who are you?" At this moment, he no longer felt that the phoenix was simple and innocent. Phoenix giggled and said, "I'm his wife." The elder's eyes narrowed as killing intent surged within them, directly slashing towards Phoenix. The old man didn't know what it meant to eat barbecue. The old man didn't know what it meant to eat barbecue. Poison. Right now, he had yet to feel any poison spreading within his body. Moreover, he suddenly realized that the phoenix that he thought was innocent and innocent was not what he thought. On the contrary, he was facing a great enemy. His aura surged. Boom. An enormous pressure instantly exploded out, and it was as if Mount Tai had pressed down on the phoenix. The skinny palm made a grasping motion with its 5 fingers, and a thick whirlpool of energy appeared on the ground. With a flick of its body, the whirlpool flew into the air and combined with Mount Tai's oppressive aura, smashed towards the phoenix. Die. Phoenix did not panic at all. She didn't even look at the old man. He was still holding onto the roasted meat. As he was chewing, he said, "Like I said, the roasted meat." The old man coldly said, "Child, you can deceive me at such a young age. There is not the slightest bit of poison in my body. I am completely fine, but you." Phoenix giggled and said, "Did I say that the barbecue you ate was poisonous? I didn't say that. However, the barbecue you just ate had a special power." The old man's palm was already about to strike Phoenix's forehead. He turned malevolent and said, "Die." At this moment, Phoenix's 2 fingers moved slightly. "Pa." He snapped his fingers. Next, a black hole appeared behind the old man. The black hole rotated and a powerful devouring force attacked him, directly sucking the old man in. The old man's body did not move forward at all. Moreover, the power he released was also instantly absorbed. Strangely enough, other than him, there was not a single movement in the yard. He wasn't affected in the slightest. The old man looked at the black hole behind him, and his eyes narrowed. What is this? Just who are you?" The phoenix continued to eat its barbecue, saying, "This is a space-time rift, designed to swallow people like you who want to hurt my darling." Humph. He snapped his fingers again. Boom. The black hole rolled up and the old man was tied up by a force. Then, he was dragged straight into the black hole. A miserable scream came from the void. And then, the whole world seemed to quiet down. There was no change in the courtyard. Long Fei opened the door to his room and secretly frowned. Seeing Phoenix still eating the barbecue in the courtyard made Long Fei relax a little, and he asked, "Did something happen just now?" Phoenix giggled and said, "No." Long Fei muttered, "Did I sense wrongly? All right, little girl, don't mess around. If there's anything, you have to notify me." Long Fei warned her. Phoenix nodded obediently and said, "Millimeter, I understand." After saying that, Long Fei returned to his room to continue his cultivation. Phoenix continued to chew on a piece of bone that had only left over a little bit of roasted meat, as if nothing had happened at all. However, Dark God Tribe, on the divine tablet, a word fell. If his identity card fell, that meant death. Just like the shadow god from the previous day, his identity card had also been dropped. Dark God Tribe had only sent out his second killer, but in less than 2 days, 2 killers had fallen. Dark God's main hall. In the void, there were only a few stone pillars. Within the black throne, a mass of black mist surged forth malevolently, just like a crazed wild beast. Its voice was hoarse and filled with boundless rage. Another failure. What on earth are you cooking? My Dark God Tribe has never had any failures ever since we were established. In just 2 days, 2 assassins successively fell. What exactly happened? Heh! Rumble. The sound was so loud that it seemed as if the entire world was roaring. In the thick black mist, gold light constantly burst out. This was the power of a heavenly god powerhouse. Within the hall, the bodies of several black-robed men trembled. Lord Dark God, the information is incorrect. Master Swordsman ranks cultivation, even 10,000 of them would not be a match for the Shadow God. Even the Black Fiend King died this time, which means that the target has an expert protecting him. This person is definitely not an ordinary disciple of the martial arts training. He might even be a reincarnated powerhouse of the divine space. Boom. The black fog on the throne became angry again. I don't need to listen to such nonsense. I only want the result, do you understand? I don't care who he is, or what kind of powerhouse he has around him to protect me. As long as I get to him, the end result will be task goal death. Understood. The black-cloaked man in the hall said in unison, understood, we will move out immediately. We will definitely kill him this time. The fact that the mission failed 2 times in a row made the people of Dark God Tribe very unhappy. However, they did not immediately send out more killers. The first time might have been a mistake, but the second time definitely wasn't a mistake. They are now going to reassess their goals and increase the level of the assassination. Collect all the information you can about him. I want his head in front of me within half a month. The assassin came and disappeared without a sound. Outside, Dong Tiankue knew about it. In the entire ancient antiquity, no one knew that the killer had come to visit. Thus, it did not attract the attention of any of the elders from the ancient antiquity. Everything was going well. The next day, the time of the second round of exams was also the time to demonstrate the results of the innate talent test. This test was especially important. Only by obtaining the approval of an elder would one have the right to enter the third round. Other than the outer door presbyter S, there were also the elder of inner house S from the 8 peaks who had a comprehensive evaluation. This was the only time in the past 100 years that the inner sect valued this exam so much. The lineup for the scoring system surprised many disciples. This was because if they performed well at this time, they would likely be chosen immediately. Of course, the ranking of the disciples was very strong, but these elder of inner house did not have much of an interest in these disciples. He had no choice. Otherwise, who would be willing to spend their time on such useless disciples? However, every disciple present held on to hope. It seemed that the sect attached great importance to them, and their hearts were filled with excitement. Besides these disciples, there were also those who did not participate. The sect's actions had undoubtedly greatly stimulated their resolve to become strong. This is your second display of talent. This is also a comprehensive demonstration. From your speed, strength, and talent, you will be able to completely assess your blood veins level. Comprehensive evaluation, so you have to show off your strong side as much as possible. There are a lot of elder of inner houses today, you all must take good care of them, understand? Outer door great presbyter gave a reminder before announcing loudly, the second round of the examination is about to begin. Invite the first disciple. We invite the first disciple. We invite the first disciple. The number 1 expert of the outer sect, the Sword Immortal, walked out. He hugged his hands and bowed to the elders before walking to the center of the stage. Disciple is a sword immortal, his talent is also a sword. The Sword Immortal was the #1 expert in the outer sect for the past few years, and many in the inner sect knew of him. However, this was the first time he was taking the exam in these few years. Upon hearing his name, quite a few elders started to look at him seriously. It's the Sword Immortal senior brother. In the outer sect, he is extremely elusive. I heard that he has already condensed his chi into a sword. That's for sure. He's one of the few powerhouses that have stepped into the Immortal Swordsman rank in the outer sect. Sword Immortal outer court disciples were very popular, otherwise they would not have been ranked first among the top 10. The great elder smiled in satisfaction. Please begin your display. The Sword Immortal nodded and said, all right. His aura stirred. Buzz. The aura on his body abruptly changed. No one's aura turned into that of an ice-cold sword, his entire body brimming with powerful sword intent. It was very sharp. This is indeed the talent of a sword. Its attack power is quite good. Not bad, not bad. Although they are not comparable to those ancient powers, they can still be considered not bad. The talent for the sword. If we successfully pass the examination, then we, the Sword Elf Mountain, will have to go. Elder of Inner House had a very high evaluation of Sword Immortals. To be able to give an outer disciple such a high evaluation was already very high. The Sword Immortal heard this and was delighted in his heart. He tried even harder to display his talent, and also released his sword intent to its strongest point. The total score is 10 points. Elders, please give your score. Elder of Inner House and a few other outer door presbyter began to grade the Sword Immortal. The points were all 7 and 8. This was already quite a high score. The Sword Immortal was also ecstatic. Entering the third round with this score should not be a problem. As long as he performed well in the third round, becoming an inner disciple should not be a problem. I, the Sword Immortal, will not do it. If I want to do it, then I will have to hit it. The Sword Immortal was a little crazy in his heart because this score far exceeded his expectations. He thought to himself that he must have entered the third round with the result of first place. Boss, a total of 76 points. What a high score. This is the first time in almost 100 years that such a high score has appeared. This Sword Immortal is truly amazing. Fire of the 5 elements said with envy. Long Fei nodded and said, it is indeed a little high. However, I am indeed worthy of this score. Immortal Swordsman rank is already the #1 disciple of the outer sect, and he was also able to form the sword into chi. This score is also proof of strength. Long Fei said. The brothers of 5 elements was a little worried and said, then They were not very confident. Although their potential had awoken, they were not very confident in their own abilities. This was because they had no idea how strong they were. Long Fei smiled faintly, and said, don't worry, your scores will only be higher than his. When the time comes, it will definitely cause a sensation in the inner and outer sect. 5 elements. 5 elements. When they erupted, one could imagine the scene where Elder of Inner House would not be able to sit still. Second place, Zhongqi. Zhongqi walked out and greeted him politely. Many outer court disciples were excited. It's senior brother Zhongqi. The second ranked of the top 10, senior brother Zhongqi. He has been chasing after the Sword Immortal senior brother all this time. I wonder if he will be able to surpass the Sword Immortal senior brother this time. Senior brother Zhong, do your best. Zhongqi's popularity was not any lower than the Sword Immortal in the outer sect, and when he saw Zhongqi walk up the stage, he became excited as well. Zhongqi calmed down and said, my name is Zhongqi, my talent is Iron Fist. Boom. His fists sank. Buzz buzz. 2 clanging sounds of steel clashing rang out. Next. Both of his fists exploded. Boom. 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 It formed into a thick steel air shield around his body, an incomparable defense. Bam. Bam. Punches and punches were thrown out, even the air was emitting explosive sounds. The sound of something tearing through the air sounded like thunder in the sky above the outer sect. The audience cheered. Elder of Inner House was also very surprised. Metal inherent skill? This pair of iron fists are pretty good. Attack with defense? Not bad, not bad. If his talent can be developed again, then his potential will not be worse than those inner disciples. If this kid can pass the examination, I'll take him. I like it too. Ha ha ha. I never thought that there would be such an outstanding disciple in the outer sect. At that time, the person who was chosen by the newcomers must have also made a mistake, right? 8 points, 8 points, 9 points, 7 minutes to 5. Each of the elders had a higher score than the sword immortal just now. Finally, Zhongqi's total score was 83 points. Looking at the total score, Zhongqi was ecstatic. He bowed and thanked, "Thank you, elder." He then walked down the arena. As he walked down the stage, he saw Long Fei in the middle of the crowd. The corners of his mouth curled into a sneer of contempt, and he pointed his finger at Long Fei in the crowd as he lightly shook his index finger. This was a provocation. It was also a form of contempt. It was impossible to say Long Fei. At that time, Zhao Dehan was already unhappy. It was as if he had charged over and smashed Zhongqi to the ground. It was held back by Bailey Tianhai, and said, "This is just a little bit of time." Zhongqi laughed coldly, "A bunch of scum. From today onwards, you and I are on the same level, ha ha ha." He was extremely arrogant. Arrogant? Ha ha. I really didn't eat enough shit. Just you wait. Long Fei spoke a few sentences in an indifferent tone. One disciple went up on stage to display their talents. The previous disciples were all quite talented, and their overall score was over 60. However, most of the disciples that showed their talents did not pass. After all, the outer sect was the outer sect. There was a reason for him to become an outer court disciple. Talent. Potential. Ancient World was the highest level plane in the continent, but like the other planes, most warriors had limited talent. Even if these outer sect disciples were placed in other places, they would still be considered top-notch existences, but this was a sect, it was the ancient antiquity, the strongest sect in the area of hundreds of millions. Many people walked down the arena dejectedly, and similarly, there were disciples who were filled with hope and excitement who walked up the arena. One by one. Be it talent, or strength, or speed, blood vein. In short, as long as they didn't pass the innate talent test, they would try their best to display their true strength in other places. This was because it would determine their fate, just a few of them. After all, the outer sect is the outer sect. If they really have the strength, then they will become inner sect disciples during the rookie selection. That's true. This assessment is also because of Great Elder. Otherwise, we wouldn't have to stay here and bask in the sun. I don't think there's a need to waste any more time. One of the clan elders of the Horcrux's Gate Hill said blandly, "The rest are just muggle. There is no need to waste any more time. Our time is so noble, how can we waste it on them?" At this moment, outer door Great Presbyter shouted, "Next, Wu Hua." Hearing the outer door Great Presbyter's name, the Horcrux's Gate Elder's face showed displeasure. Hearing the outer door Great Presbyter's name, the Horcrux's Gate Elder's face showed displeasure. Many of the Elder of Inner House S also spoke up slightly, "Since you're already here, let's finish this second round and go through it quickly. Let them go faster. The more biased the results of the first round are, the worse the talent. Hurry up, don't waste our time." From the shock of their sword immortal and Zhongqi's talent, these elders had become impatient. The Great Elder said, "Good, good, good. Next, Wu Hua, quickly come up. Don't waste everyone's time. Wu Hua." The fire within the brothers of 5 element. Long Fei patted his shoulder, and said, "Don't worry, just relax and display your talent. Don't be nervous." Wu Hua nodded, and said, "Amen." As he walked onto the stage, people immediately recognized him. "Isn't that Wu Hua from the trash group? Ha ha ha. Didn't he not have any talent? You dare to go up on stage with this kind of trash? Don't embarrass yourself, hurry up and get down. Trash dares to show off your talent. Do you have any? Ha ha ha." Many disciples mocked him. Zhao Dehan was very unhappy, his face was full of anger. The remaining 4 brothers of 5 elements S all lowered their heads. Long Fei said indifferently, "Before Powerhouse rises up, he will be mocked by others. Faced with such mockery, all we have to do is slap him back and let him know how laughable we are. Understood. Long Fei looked at Brothers of Five Elements. Wu Hua, who was on stage, was obviously affected. Standing there, he was a little anxious, and didn't know how to reveal himself. The Horcrux's Gate Elder urged, if you can't show it, go down. Don't waste your time. Go down. Get lost. Don't embarrass my outer sect. Exactly. You don't even have the nerve to go up. I really don't know where you got the courage from. Many disciples mocked him. They, the 5 of them, had been in the outer sect for several years. These years, they were mocked by people almost every day. Because their cultivations were low, because they lacked talent. It was called the trash group of 5. As he continued to be mocked by others, Wu Hua's heart was greatly affected, as if he was unable to escape from his frustration. Trash. Scum. Don't lose face. If I were you, I'd just die. Where did you get the courage to stand on it? One voice after another entered his ears. Wu Hua's body trembled slightly. I'm not a piece of trash. I'm not a piece of trash. I'm not. Just as the Horcrux's Gate Clan elder stood up and was about to criticize, Wu Hua suddenly roared out, I am not a piece of trash. Rumble. A loud boom echoed out. Flames shot up into the sky and engulfed his entire body. The flames were exceptionally fierce. Moreover, the color of the flame was not ordinary flame. Instead, it was a special kind of flame. At the same time, all of the fire elements within a circumference of 300 meters were gathering towards his body. The flames on his body were becoming stronger and more threatening. Disciples with weaker cultivations were immediately forced to retreat, unable to withstand the flames erupting from Wu Hua's body. A loud boom resounded above the entire outer sect. Fire! Ancient ability user! This flame. These flames are far beyond the level of the disciples with the talent for fire. I can't even tell what rank the flames on their body are. These flames are extraordinary. Where do you think his fire source is? It came from his pubes, the fire of pubes. It was not something that was created by cultivation, it was innate, it was something that had been there since his birth, just that it did not awaken at the beginning, but now that it has, it is definitely not a simple flame. All of the Elder of Inner House S stood up, their eyes flickering with a sharp light. They were all stunned by the flames on Wu Hua's body. If it was said that the sword immortal from earlier had greatly surprised them, then the flames that erupted from Wu Hua's body made their hearts tremble. This sort of talent was too strong. The Horcrux's Gate Elder's face darkened, and said, this disciple, I'm taking it, whoever wants to fight with me, I will fight with my life on the line. Didn't you say it was a waste of time? You're going all out. Am I not going to fight with my life on the line? Your Horcrux's Gate needs a fire source disciple, and so does my Powder Peak. I want this disciple. They had even forgotten about the 3rd round of the assessment. At this moment, those people who had mocked Wu Hua earlier acted as if they had been slapped in the face a few times. How did it suddenly turn out like this? Why is that? Wu Hua stood on the stage in high spirits. He glanced around, then looked at the people who were laughing at him, and said loudly, laugh again. Why isn't he laughing now? Those disciples' faces were burning. Let alone laughing, when they heard the words of these Elder of Inner Houses, they wanted to kneel in front of Wu Hua. They hadn't even started the 3rd round of the examination, and yet the elders had already snatched them away. This meant that their world was already different. 10. All the elders had given him 10 points. This was something that not even the inner court disciples could achieve. Wu Hua retracted the aura on his body, returned the flames to his body and walked down the stage. The Horcrux's Gate Elder immediately said, little brother, you don't need to participate in the 3rd round of the examination, just come with me to the Horcrux's Gate Hill. The Powder Peak Elder also stood up and said, the gates to my Powder Peak is always open to you. As long as you agree to it now, my Powder Peak will accept you as my last disciple. They all began to fight. The 2 elders puffed their beard and glared at each other. They were on the verge of having a fight. Wu Hua said in a bland voice, I will listen to my big brother. Wherever my big brother tells me to go, I will go. I can even stay in the outer sect. After which, he strode into the crowd. Everyone began to discuss. Is he crazy? Boss? Who's the boss? In the face of such a great opportunity, who would care if the boss lived or not? There must be something wrong with his head. Who's his boss? This is an inner court disciple's opportunity. What is he thinking? Everyone was puzzled. However, Wu Hua understood in his heart that if it wasn't for Long Fei, he wouldn't be here. His life was given by Long Fei. Everything that he had obtained from Long Fei was given to him by him, so if Long Fei was not able to enter the inner sect, if Long Fei refused to allow him to, he would definitely not say a single word of no. Wu Hua walked back to Long Fei's side and bowed 90 degrees towards him, saying, "Thank you, boss." Long Fei laughed, then said, "We are brothers, you have your own path to walk, don't change because of others, I too." Wu Hua said heavily, "No, the path I want to take is to follow by your side." Being mocked for so many years made him inferior to others in the outer sect. Being mocked for so many years made him inferior to others in the outer sect. No one had seen them for years, and when they met, they would just say trash. The 5 of them from the moment they stepped into ancient antiquity had this title. They want to get rid of it, but it was as if their talents were being restricted by some sort of power. No matter how hard they tried, they just wouldn't budge an inch. His cultivation seemed to have died. They were in despair. But after meeting Long Fei, all of this changed. Long Fei had saved them and given them a second life, turning them from trash into a super genius who possessed ancient ability. Let them live and see hope again. They knew how to repay a favor, and they knew very well who gave them all of this. Without Long Fei, they would be nothing. Thus, Wu Hua bowed 90 degrees seriously. He swore that his life would be Long Fei's. The other 4 people were the same. Long Fei gave them a new life, so their lives were now Long Fei's. Many people were surprised to see Wu Hua bowing to Long Fei, but at the same time, it made Zhongqi feel extremely displeased. The corners of his eyes twitched slightly, and he sneered, "Isn't it just that his talent is better? Wait and see how I can kill all of you in the 3rd round. When the time comes, kneel down and wail in front of me." Zhongqi clenched his fists, which released a cracking sound. Next, Wu Shui. The only woman among the 5 elements, she stepped onto the stage. No one laughed at her this time. She also became very calm, saluted slightly and said, "My name is Wu Shui, my talent is Shui." Then, with a slight movement between his brows, the power of the 5 elements water within the pubes started to be released. In an instant, a large amount of water started to gush out from the sky. The water surged into a river. The water in the river was flowing in the sky, and all of this was under Wu Shui's control. Elder of Inner House stood up again. Power of water, pubes water source, this is yet another innate expert of ancient times. The power to control water is simply too strong. I'll take it. I'm not going to fight for the fire. I want this water. Why didn't you notice her at the time? Yet another wave of shock. Elder of Inner House threw out their olive branches one by one, wanting to take Wu Shui away immediately. Moreover, they had the right to do so. He didn't even need to take the 3rd round of the examination and he was going straight away. However, Wu Shui also rejected him. Like Wu Hua, she walked to the front of Long Fei and directly bowed 90 degrees, saying, "Thank you, boss." If Wu Hua's bow did not attract too much attention, then Wu Shui's bow now was something that many people noticed. Even the Elder of Inner House noticed it. Who is this kid? Who is he? What exactly is their relationship with him? Where did this person come from? How could he cultivate 2 talents from ancient powers? His attention suddenly focused on Long Fei. Many people did not know who Long Fei was, but there were also a lot of people who knew him. Zhao Dahan said excitedly, "Boss, a lot of people are looking at you, hey. There are even many senior Sister S among them." Bailey Tianhai was also excited. "Are we really going to become famous?" Long Fei said, "Keep a low profile, do you know that?" Are those junior sister pretty? How about this position? Is it enchanting? Yunshi gave Long Fei a fierce look of disdain, and said, so handsome that it mesmerized those little junior sisters to the point that they couldn't find their way to the north. Phoenix giggled and said, my darling is the most handsome, hey. Long Fei scratched Phoenix's nose and said, I like hearing the truth. Yunshi made a vomiting expression. Long Fei said to the remaining three, no need to thank me, all of this is your own potential, I am only allowing you to find a way to cultivate. Wu Tu said, boss, if it weren't for you, there wouldn't be the 5 of us. While they were talking, he stepped onto the stage. Boom, boom, boom. Streams of soil suddenly rose up from the ground. Standing on the soil pillar, Wu Tu frowned and bellowed, gather, rumble. The thick soil turned into earth escape, flashing with a dark yellow light. This round of hype caused all the elder of inner houses to gape one after the other. Their eyes glazed over as they were once again stunned. The power of earth. Damn, I just want to ask, who was it that evaluated their sky law? Who is it? Why is such a genius only discovered now? Do you know how strong the talents of these 3 people are? 3 of the 5 elements, is there still 2 people? Oh my god, if it's 5 elements and 5 bodies, then it's really incredible. Did that brat awaken them? This is too unbelievable. Right now, I'm a bit curious to know if there are still 2 5 elements disciples remaining. And I want to know the background of that kid. The elder of inner house discussed passionately once again. Moreover, many elder of inner houses offered Wu Tu conditions, but all of them were rejected by him. Wu Tu said loudly, in the past, no one saw us as people, no one thought highly of us, it was boss who gave us everything. Wherever he wants us to go, we will go. He walked to Long Fei's side and gave another 90 degrees bow, saying, thank you, boss. All of a sudden, almost everyone was looking at Long Fei. Everyone's gaze focused on Long Fei. Long Fei said softly, low profile, low profile. Although he said this, his expression was arrogant. Wu Jin walked up the ring and similarly displayed his metal attribute strength. He was equally stunning, and similarly obtained a perfect score from all the elders. He also bowed towards Long Fei 90 degrees, thank you, boss. Next was Wu Mu. He and the other 4 were the same. After the 5 of them displayed their skills, the elder of inner house erupted with excitement. 5 elements, 5 bodies. The 5 elements were all original energies. They were not cultivated from the Hutian realm, but naturally born. In other words, they were the 5 element. Not to mention the world of mortals, even the powerhouse of the divine space looked up to the unattainable existence of these 5 elements. Now that he appeared before them, their excitement was at its peak. Struggling for it was untouchable. They all had red faces and thick necks. Raising their sleeves, they really wanted to start a fight. However, no matter how tempting the conditions were, the 5 of them pretended to not hear anything. They all walked over to Long Fei's side and said, thank you. An elder stood up, and instantly appeared beside Long Fei. He grabbed onto Long Fei's hand and said, Junior brother, you still don't have talent to display yet, right? You don't need to show me anything. Bring them along with you to my Peakshun. I'll give you whatever you want. The clan elders of the Peakshun all took action, while the other clan elders also made their moves. They now understood that as long as Long Fei said the word, the 5 big groups would all follow them. They now understood that as long as Long Fei said the word, the 5 big groups would all follow them. Thus, Long Fei was the key. Suddenly, Long Fei became the center of attention. This made Zhong Qi very unhappy. Someone who did not even display his talent was actually going to enter the inner sect. How could he accept this? However, now that he was even facing the elder of inner house, he didn't even have the qualifications to speak. This was the difference. The gap between people. Zhong Qi clenched his teeth so hard that his teeth made popping noises, and said with a cold laugh, Long Fei, are you relying on this method to enter the inner sect? What was the talent you displayed last time? Trash inherent skill, trash blood vein, right? What qualifications does a person like you have to enter the inner sect? The 5 elements and 5 bodies that you discovered. The 5 of them were only tricked by you. Zhongqi's voice was not loud, but he used the power of the holy source, allowing everyone present to hear him. Many people were stunned. They started to discuss softly, and the majority of them were looking down on Long Fei's methods. He is Long Fei. I heard that this person really doesn't know his place. The kind with water in their brains. A piece of trash like him was able to discover 5 elements and 5 bodies. I wouldn't believe it even if I were beaten to death. Brothers of 5 elements must have been tricked by him. Exactly. A trash can find a genius. Ha ha ha. Many people began to laugh. Those elder of inner houses who were fighting for Long Fei didn't think too much about it. What they wanted was the brothers of 5 elements, not Long Fei. As for what Long Fei's cultivation level was, it did not matter. They did not want to nurture Long Fei anyway, they only wanted the 5 element. Long Fei naturally heard what Zhongqi was saying as well. Zhongxian felt displeased. The brothers of 5 elements also said loudly, Zhongqi, you are jealous of our boss, this is all you have. The Peakshan elder said, little junior brother, don't say that you have talent, even if you don't have talent or cultivation, I will take it without any strength. Me too. As long as you give me the 5 elements and your conditions are met, I'll give you whatever you want. Elder of Inner House did not care about what Zhongqi said. Long Fei looked at Zhongqi with jealousy and said, you shitty brat, did you hear that? Even if I don't display any of my talent, I will still do better than you. What kind of trash are you? Zhongqi's face turned ugly, and said, Long Fei, if you have the guts, go up the stage and display your talent. I don't think you can do it, right? You have no talent, and yet you're a trash blood vein, ha ha ha. I think you're ancient antiquities #1 trash. Exactly. Using such despicable means to enter the inner sect, do you have the nerve to do so? He doesn't look like a good person. I was just lucky. Brat, do you want to show your talent on the stage? Using such a method to enter the inner sect is such a shame. Zhongqi started to move with Long Fei's tempo. With Long Fei's favor, a lot of people were displeased. Immediately, a lot of people started laughing at him, and some of the surrounding people, who did not know the truth, started to join in the tempo. He felt that Long Fei was not worthy to enter the inner sect. He just thought that Long Fei was trash. The mocking laughter grew in volume. Brothers of 5 elements shouted to defend himself, but facing these water army, no one could hear what they were saying. Long Fei only smiled, and did not try to defend himself. Ridicule? How should he fight back? Slap their faces. I'll see if they can still laugh. At this time, Lu Xun suddenly appeared and suddenly said, the second round of the examination is not over yet, please return to your seats, elders. His voice was filled with power. His voice also instantly crushed the noisy noise in the plaza. It became quiet. When the elders saw Lu Xun, all of their expressions changed, and they quickly returned to their seats. Lu Xun glanced at Long Fei, then said to the great clan elder, are there any other disciples who have not taken the examination yet? The great elder bowed and said, there are still a few more. Lu Xun coldly snorted, and said, then let's continue. What are you waiting for? The great clan elder did not dare delay, and immediately shouted for the next disciple, next, Zhao Dahan. Hee. It's my turn. Zhao Dahan laughed in excitement. He walked towards the stage with large strides, and when he walked to the point where the Long Fei disciples were laughing at him, his steps suddenly became heavier. Bam! Bam! After taking a few steps in a row, the disciples' minds were in turmoil. Their minds were churning and could not take it anymore. It was as if they were about to vomit. He had an ugly expression on his face. Zhao Dahan coldly glanced at Zhongqi, his eyes not concealing his killing intent at all, and stepped onto the stage. I am Zhao Dahan, Long Fei is also my big brother. My talent, stone. As soon as he finished, a powerful and ancient power was released, and both his arms turned into deep black rocks of the deep sea. He lowered his fists and heavily punched the arena. Bang, bang, bang. One after another of the rocks flew out, floating around Zhao Dahan's body. Zhao Dahan glared at him, rise. Boom, boom, boom. All the stones were lifted up high into the sky. Fall. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The huge boulders were like cannonballs that shot at him one after another. He stood still, not moving at all. He let the rocks hit him. Pieces of rock were smashed into pieces, but his body did not have the slightest injury, not even a single strand of hair was damaged. He retracted his aura. He returned the shattered stone to its original place. Zhao Dahan slightly pressed down with his hands and retracted his innate ability. The elder of Inner House S in the stands were all dumbstruck. Is this a person? This defense? How strong is the power of a falling stone from 1,000 meters? I am afraid it is not weaker than the immortal swordsman rank's attack. Not a single wound, just this little bit of defense is impressive. Good boy, you're so fierce, a natural-born warrior. He's a good seedling. He was once again stunned by Zhao Dahan. And then, all of them gave the same score. Yet another perfect score. Zhao Dahan cupped his fists, bowed and thanked, and said, Long Fei is my boss. Wherever he goes, I will go there. He is in the outer sect, and I am in the outer sect. Finished. Zhao Dahan pointed at Zhongqi, and said, even a little more than 80. What the F***ck are you trying to play? I can kill you within seconds. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. He directly provoked them. Zhongqi's face turned sinister. The great clan elder continued, next, Bailey Tianhai. Bailey Tianhai leisurely walked up the stage. With a sweep of his sleeve, he lightly said, Disciple Bailey Tianhai, my innate supernatural ability is 8 head. 3 months ago, he was still brainless when it came to rookie selection, but now, he was brain-dead. As soon as he finished, all of the elder of Inner House S stood up in unison, and every single one of them looked at Bailey Tianhai without blinking. Even Lu Zun was shocked as he stared at Bailey Tianhai. Bailey Tianhai moved and released the image in his mind. The 8 brains also appeared from the image. It really is 8 brains. Damn it, this is too shocking, to think that he would actually be a mind-boggling Avildor. I haven't met such a genius in a long time. The main hall is mine, no one can snatch it away from me. My boss is also Long Fei. I'll go wherever he goes. He's in the outer sect and I'm just in the outer sect as well. In addition, Zhongqi, just you wait. It was a blatant provocation. Zhongqi's eyes turned sinister again, the anger in his heart roared, wait for me to kill you one by one. With the special inherent skill of the 5 elements, the super strong resisting force of the divine sea profound stone, and Bailey Tianhai who had a monstrous intelligence, the talent of the 7 of them shocked all of the elder of Inner House S. With the special inherent skill of the 5 elements, the super strong resisting force of the divine sea profound stone, and Bailey Tianhai who had a monstrous intelligence, the talent of the 7 of them shocked all of the elder of Inner House S. If this was the rookie selection, this talent would have long been accepted and become an elite disciple that was focused on nurturing. If not for the great clan elder's warning to these outer sect disciples to gain more chances and become these geniuses, it would simply be the loss of the ancient antiquity. However, no matter what kind of condition the elder of Inner House had, they did not even glance at it. All of them were indifferent because they were all Long Fei's little brothers. All of them followed Long Fei's orders. This caused the outer sect disciples and elder of Inner House S to be even more shocked. Who exactly was Long Fei? What kind of background did he have? How could he let these people follow him wholeheartedly? Even if it was an outer sect disciple who entered the inner sect, he would not have a chance to take a step up to the heavens. What was the reason? They wanted to know. Next, Long Fei. The great elder shouted. Everyone turned to look at Long Fei. Long Fei let out a light breath of air and started to walk towards the stage, thinking, what's my inherent skill? What is my blood vein? What is my special power? The ancient dragon body is my inherent skill? No, that's just a strong power, it's not my talent. Then what is my innate talent? Could it be that the system failed and showed the system to them? I'm pretty much brainless, even if I show the system to them, they wouldn't be able to understand. Long Fei muttered in his heart. Because he had no idea what his innate talent was. From the moment he had teleported to now, Long Fei basically did not know about his innate talent. If he didn't even know his own talent, how could he display it? Long Fei walked onto the stage and bowed to the evaluation elder and said, "Disciple Long Fei, my talent is." It's. He was still thinking. But he just couldn't think of anything. What is talent? My innate skill is. Long Fei couldn't say it out loud. Because he did not know what his innate skill was. Was it the refining techniques? Was it the alchemy technique? Inscription, talisman art? Or was it the beast mastery? Or something else? He knew all of these, moreover more impressive than any great grandmaster, but were these his talents? Long Fei didn't think so. If so, how would he show it? Long Fei went silent. One of the elders smiled. "Don't be nervous, slowly tell me, what is your innate talent?" Long Fei had decided that as long as Long Fei was present, he would be able to obtain the other 7 people. Thus, even though he was displeased with Long Fei, on the surface, he was still very amiable. "Right, there's no need to rush. Take your time. We have plenty of time. Slow down." They all acted as if they had seen their father. They all wanted to curry favor with Long Fei. Huff. Long Fei exhaled lightly, his heart relaxed, his eyes firm as he looked at the judges' stand and said, "I do not have talent." As soon as he finished, the entire plaza suddenly became silent. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. 3 seconds later, there was an uproar again. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. No talent. He really is a trash. I was wondering what it was. So it's a trash without talent. Like I said, during the rookie selection, his blood vein was a trash. The talent for trash should be about the same. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Many people were ridiculing Long Fei. The space between Phoenix's eyebrows tightened. Looking at the mocking laughter from her surroundings, she became a little unhappy. Zhao Dahan roared, "What are you laughing at? What qualifications do you have to laugh at my boss?" Boom tilde tilde tilde. Brothers of 5 Elements' aura shook, immediately releasing 5 streams of 5 elements energy, causing the entire plaza to shake. Zhongqi said loudly, "What? You don't want me to talk about trash? You want to use force? You think you have a grudge? Very arrogant." "Brothers," Zhongqi replied heavily. Immediately, the several 100-meter-tall disciple released his aura and went straight for the front with all his might. The situation was about to go out of control. An elder stood up when he saw the situation. He coughed and said, "Quiet, quiet. Everyone be quiet." There was an overbearing pressure in his voice that directly crushed the noise in the square. The square was silent. The elder looked at Long Fei and said, "You don't have any talent. Can you make it clear that all martial artists have their own talents and everyone has their own talents? How come you don't have them? As long as one had talent." It was just that. Was this talent suitable for cultivation? Is it any use? Most martial artists' talents were useless, but this situation wouldn't occur. Long Fei did not mind the ridiculing disciples below the stage. To him, these people who mocked merely deserved a slap, and said, "I don't know what my innate talent is." "You don't even know your own talent." The Horcruxes Gate elder laughed coldly and said, "Then what are you still standing here for? You don't even know what your innate talent is. Do you have the qualifications to stand here? Hurry and get down." Long Fei replied, "I don't have talent, but I do." The elder also said just now that it was a comprehensive assessment of talent, blood vein, speed, and strength. Indeed. In terms of personal strength, talent was just one of them. However, the people at the front only displayed their inherent skills, because in the elder of Inner House's eyes, the strength of one's inherent skills determined everything. Ha ha ha. The Horcruxes Gate elder laughed out loud, "You don't even have talent, how can you still show such a speed and strength? Quickly get down, don't waste our time." Elder Hong, the rules are our own. We can't go back on our word." An elder helped Long Fei speak. "What do you want to show?" Long Fei said, "Strength, speed is fine." Long Fei had no other choice. He did not know what his innate skill was, but as for the blood vein, he couldn't control himself. Thus, he could only choose to display his strength and speed. But, having no inherent skill already gave the Elder of Inner House a bad impression. Even if his strength was higher than warriors of the same realm, he wouldn't get many points. Alright then, however, you need to know one thing. If you don't have talent and are a trash blood vein, even if your speed and strength surpasses that of an ordinary martial artist, you still won't get a good score. The Elder reminded him. Long Fei nodded, and said, I know. I'll do my best. Alright, please begin your performance. The Elder looked at the surrounding elders. Give him a chance. The Horcrux's Gate Elder laughed coldly. This kind of trash is simply a waste of time. Long Fei's pupils contracted slightly. No talent. No talent. A waste blood vein. In these two situations, basically, this person had already been sentenced to death. No matter how good his performance was, he still wouldn't be liked by the elders. No high marks. The reason why Long Fei was able to continue standing on the stage was also because of the brothers of 5 elements, Zhao Dehan, and the others. Otherwise, he would have been driven out long ago. Elder Hong, don't be anxious. Who knows, he might really be able to give us a surprise. An elder said indifferently. Surprise? I'm afraid it's just a shock. With his cultivation and strength, can his speed even surpass the immortal swordsman rank? I think he's wasting our time. Let's take a look first. It's not like we need much time. After a few elders spoke a few words, the Horcrux's Gate Elder snorted coldly and sat back in his chair with a face full of disdain. In the arena, Long Fei cupped his fists and said, Show me your strength. As soon as he finished, his body sank and the aura within his body surged. With a heavy roar, power gushed out from his limbs and bones, and gathered on his fist. A punch exploded. Boom, boom, boom. A series of explosions sounded out in the sky as 9 voices sounded out. Space twisted around his fist as well. 9 echoes. This power. It's not bad, it's a lot higher than martial artists of your level. An elder lightly said, revealing a satisfied expression. He stroked his goatee and said, However, you don't have talent, so your strength does not have any advantages compared to warriors of the same realm. Just this kind of strength. The quantity is still not enough. That's why talent is so important. Diligence can make up for one's incompetence. Talent is the most important thing. If a person does not have talent, then there is no need for cultivation. Little brother, the condition I put out earlier is still valid. So long as you nod your head now, you can directly become an inner court disciple without taking the test. How is it? A punch that produced 9 explosive sounds was a very strong force. However, because he didn't have talent, this kind of strength was far from enough. However, smiled faintly and said, Clan Elder, I want to enter the inner sect by relying on my own strength. Furthermore, they are my brothers. I cannot use my brothers to enter the inner court. And this is my warm-up. Warm up. Hee hee. Brat, stop fooling yourself. If you don't have talent, what other power can you possibly unleash? The clan elder could not bear to listen any longer, and felt that Long Fei was just pretending. You have to understand, if you stop right now, you still have a chance to join the inner sect. If you continue, if you don't get a qualified score, you will be directly eliminated. At that time, even if we use our privileges, we won't be able to do anything because you have already been judged to be unqualified. You still have a chance to choose right now. An elder said seriously. It could also be considered a reminder to Long Fei. If he continued, once he does not get a qualified score, no matter how powerful the Elder of Inner House was, it would be useless. Long Fei was unable to enter the inner sect. Do you want to continue? Outer Door Great Presbyter also reminded Long Fei. Long Fei did not hesitate at all, and said, Continue. Sigh. He's really overestimating himself. What else do you want with this level of strength? Kid, you have to know how to act cool. A few of the elders shook their heads and sneered, thinking that Long Fei was simply too arrogant. No one would like this kind of disciple. Ignorant. The outer court disciples were even full of mockery. Ha ha ha. Typical mental illness. Do you have any talent, or do you wish to display your strength? Ha ha ha. That's too crazy. It's just a piece of trash. What's the point of being crazy? Many people looked down on Long Fei. They didn't know why Long Fei had to insist. This kind of insistence was completely useless. It would only make others mock him and accept the conditions of an elder. This was the best choice. However, Long Fei did not do so. They did not understand Long Fei, but Bailey Tianhai and the others did not waver in the slightest. Regardless of whether it was Zhao Dehan, Bailey Tianhai, or Brothers of Five Elements, they had long made a decision in their hearts that they would be there wherever Long Fei was. It didn't matter if it was the inner or outer disciples. Even if Long Fei left the ancient antiquity, they would still follow him. Because Long Fei was their boss. Phoenix muttered to herself as she looked at the disciples who were filled with disdain, "You are all scoundrels, my honey will definitely blind you." Outer door Great Presbyter said, "Then continue." Long Fei nodded his head, his eyes revealed a sinister look, and roared in his heart, "Level 1 Eternal Dragon's body." Boom. The power in Long Fei's body exploded out with a bang. And at this moment, Long Fei's fist exploded forth. Bang, 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 bang. Space distorted, and sounds of explosions erupted in the air. 100 explosive sounds. This power. One of the clan elders was startled. You have reached the power of the immortal swordsman rank, right? So what if you have the power of the immortal swordsman rank? So what if he's talented? Without talent, even if he reached the level of king swordsman rank, it would be useless. He's still trash. Not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei's voice sank. Level 2 Ancient Dragon body, explode. Boom. The power in his body roared again. This time, there was a faint dragon's roar in the rumble of power. Long Fei punched out. Boom, boom, boom. 1,000 explosive sounds. The space in front of Long Fei directly shattered. This time, the three elder of Inner Houses immediately stood up, and stared straight at Long Fei in a daze, and exclaimed, "What a powerful strength. This power should have reached the Sword Immortal's peak realm, right? No, no, no. The power of a Sword Immortal at the peak of the Sword Immortal realm can't do such a thing. It can't even shatter space itself. This power is at least equivalent to King Swordsman rank. Kid, this power of yours." Not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei roared in his heart, "3-rate Ancient Dragon body, explode for me." Roar. A roar. This time, the dragon roar directly exploded in the sky, causing all the disciples in the square to sink down, as if they were scared senseless. All the elder of Inner House stood up in unison, and were overwhelmed with shock when they saw the dragon's roar coming from the sky. Dragon roar? What kind of power is this? What a powerful aura. The aura of a king. Lu Xun also looked at the sky, and then looked back at Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei clenched his right fist and stared at the Horcruxes Gate Elder. Explode. Boom, boom, boom. The power carried an incomparably enormous penetrating force, and continuously blasted outwards. The space in front of him continuously ruptured, and the power directly shook in front of Elder Horcruxes Gate. The Horcruxes Gate Elder was so scared that his face turned pale. He staggered back and fell on his chair as he broke out in a cold sweat. Bang, 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 bang. Peak of King Swordsman. The force behind the explosion rumbled like thunder for a long time. The force behind the explosion rumbled like thunder for a long time. The entire audience was shocked by the sound of the explosion. Is the Master Swordsman rank a monster or something? There was no end in sight. However, this was only the power of the 3-rate Ancient Dragon body. The strength of the Ancient Dragon body that Long Fei was able to control had already reached level 5. Although it would not activate for long, it could still be used. If the power of an Ancient Dragon body of the 5th level exploded, what kind of scene would that be? He was the one who had slain a 3rd-ranked Empyrean god. Of course. Long Fei would not reveal his true strength in front of so many people. 3-rate ancient dragon body was enough. Gudong. Lu Xun swallowed all of it heavily, his clenched fists relaxed slightly, and the unwillingness in his eyes became dull. The difference. He now knew why his master valued Long Fei so much. He began to feel envious. But now, he knew the difference between Long Fei and himself. That kind of difference was something that was impossible to overcome. It was something that he would never be able to surpass in his entire life. Just like the phrase hard work can make up for one's failure, but hard work can't, some people were destined to be looked up to, and Long Fei was such a person. It was destined to be the stars in the sky, making people look up at them. Ha ha ha. Big brother is mighty. Zhao Dehan let out a heavy shout, venting all the displeasure in his heart earlier, and roared loudly, ha ha, laugh again. I'm F*** king laughing again. Why aren't you laughing? Your face must have been beaten until it swelled up. Ha ha ha. Zhao Dehan continued to vent. He had been feeling rather depressed just now, but now he had completely vented it out. It was the same for Bailey Tianhai and the other brothers of 5 elements. All of them were extremely excited, and at the same time, they were extremely shocked in their hearts. The power that Long Fei had exploded out was truly too powerful. This is Long Fei. This was their boss. A slap on the face was a slap in the face. Face smacking sometimes didn't even need to be done. It was just a ferocious face smacking method, causing one to be unable to even raise one's head. Following Zhao Dehan's heavy shout, the originally silent plaza also slowly began to boil. Some people were excited. What is this power? Endless sounds of explosions. My God, what kind of realm is this power at to be able to erupt such power? Damn, wasn't it an illusion just now? What is his cultivation level? The people from the Master Swordsman rank can release 10,000 echoes of power. I don't believe it. And what was that dragon roar just now? Fuck, he's a monster. After all, this was the world of the powerhouse. If you were strong enough, then many people would worship you. Zhongqi's face turned ugly. The power that Long Fei had displayed was like it had hit his face, causing him to feel extremely uncomfortable. Furthermore, he was simply unable to withstand the power that Long Fei erupted with. If Long Fei's punch had landed on his body, then he would have had no other choice but to be killed instantly. If they were to meet in the 3rd round, would he have any chance of winning? At this moment, Zhongqi started to regret a little in his heart. Regret angering Long Fei, regret listening to Lin Yuan's words and targeting him everywhere. However, Zhongqi's eyes turned sinister as he squinted his eyes, which were filled with a cold light. I still have the Holy Source's Qi Explosion Pill. As long as I can unleash the power of the Qi Explosion Pill, I can definitely kill you. He had no other choice. Even if they did not kill Long Fei, entering the inner sect Lin Yuan would still be able to kill him. If he killed Long Fei, his future path would definitely be much easier. Zhongqi clenched his fists tightly. In the arena, Long Fei retracted his aura, looked at the Horcrux's Gate Elder who had fallen on the chair from the punch, and asked indifferently, "May I ask if my strength meets the standard?" "The standard has been met." "Very good. Brat, you really are a monster. Ha ha ha. Your strength has already convinced all of us. You've passed this round's assessment. We have to pass. I finally understand now why those people are all his lackeys. Well, now, all the elders, please score your points. I am 10 points. Me too. Me too." Other than the Horcrux's Gate Clan Elder who had scored 0, the other 9 clan elders had all scored a perfect score. Long Fei's final score was 90 points. To be able to unleash the peak of the King Swordsman, Master Swordsman rank was indeed worthy of a full score. There was no doubt about that. The Strength Sect's elder stood up, walked to Long Fei and said, "Your strength is too suitable for our Strength Sect. I don't care if your brother comes to the Strength Sect or not, I hope that you can join the Strength Sect. Our Strength Sect has the most perfect system for training our strength, and it will definitely help you take another step forward. As long as you agree, you don't have to take the 3rd round. F***CK. Old Wang, are you trying to steal another person? Only your sect has a training system, we do too. Come here. Can you guys be a little more reserved? Brat, come to me. If you have the conditions, Furthermore, we have a beautiful little senior sister here. Prudence. Prudence. Pay attention to your moral integrity. If we get it, we'll earn it. What else is there to do? What's a segment? Can you eat it? Other than the Horcruxes Gate elders, the group of elders gathered around Long Fei and stated their various conditions. Just a moment ago, it was for the Brothers of 5 Elements. Bailey Tianhai, Zhao Dehan, now it was more for Long Fei. But Long Fei declined all of them one by one, and said, I just said that I will rely on my own strength to enter the inner sect, and enter it step by step. Finished. Long Fei walked down the stage. Phoenix ran over from afar and threw herself into Long Fei's embrace. She giggled and said, My honey, you're really handsome. Long Fei laughed, of course. With such a beautiful loli in her arms, the adorable atmosphere made many people envious. Yunxi walked up again, and gently kissed Long Fei on the cheek. Powerful. Although it was only a light peck, it still caused Long Fei to be surprised. He smiled evilly. I said, You've fallen for me, right? Yunxi lowered his voice and said, I am giving you face, letting your image crush everything. I don't like you at all. After saying that, Yunxi wrapped his arms around Long Fei's arm with a smile that was not a smile, and revealed a blissful expression. This caused the entire square to explode in excitement. My God! Can we still play? It's so bright that it blinded my eyes. I refuse to accept this. Why is it like this? They all had expressions of despair. All of the limelight today had truly been taken up by Long Fei alone. From the Sword Immortals and Zhongqi's surprise, to Brothers of 5 Elements' explosive power, and then to Bailey Tianhai's crushing defeat, in the end, Long Fei's strength exploded out by tens of thousands. Like this, the Sword Immortal, Zhongqi, and Long Fei were like little imps compared to each other, not even worth mentioning. Long Fei looked at the Zhongqi who had a displeased expression, lifted his finger slightly, and pointed at Zhongqi. Do you know why I rejected the invitation of these elders? Because my brother is going to kill you in the 3rd round. The 2nd round of the exam was over. From the 100 over people in the 1st round, only 30 people had passed the 2nd round. The 2nd round of the exam was over. From the 100 over people in the 1st round, only 30 people had passed the 2nd round. Long Fei took up 9 people, almost 1/3. According to the rankings, the first 9 were all his men. With this kind of situation, who wouldn't be able to be killed in the 3rd round? Inner sect, Horcruxes Gate Fire Peak. Are all the people from the Dark God tribe considered trash? If you can't even kill a piece of trash from the Master Swordsman rank, you must be some kind of number 1 assassination organization in the ancient world. I think the number 1 is just a useless organization. Something that doesn't exist. Trash, trash, all of them are trash. Inside the secret room, Dong Tiankue was furious. He thought that the Black Fiend School elder from yesterday was able to kill Long Fei, but he never thought that the old killer never showed up again. This was something he had never expected. And after hearing about Long Fei passing the 2nd round of examination and the events that had occurred today, Long Fei was simply unstoppable as he entered the inner sect in this kind of situation. Even he, the patriarch of the Horcruxes Gate, could not block it. Once Long Fei entered the inner sect, it would be troublesome if he wanted to make a move on him. Moreover, Dong Tiankue urgently wanted to obtain the highest grade Fire Soul. Without highest grade Fire Soul, he would not be able to recover his cultivation. If he could not recover for a long period of time, then he, the sect leader, would have probably reached the end of his life. Losing his position would only make him more embarrassed. What should we do? What should I do? Dong Tiankue paced back and forth in the secret room, his brows knitted tightly. Is there any news on the fire element? The middle-aged man said, Not yet, I have already sent out 100 of my disciples to collect them, but this fire essence is nurtured by the heaven and earth, it can be found but not sought after. I am worried that it will be difficult to find senior brother in the short term, not to mention this is a 2nd-grade fire essence. Dong Tiankue frowned. Without the fire essence, it will be difficult to recover my cultivation, and if my position is not protected, you brothers will not be able to survive. The middle-aged man said, I understand. We are all thinking of a way to deal with this. However, senior brother, there's a special disciple in today's outer sect examination. He possesses the fire element power of the 5 elements, and it's an innate fire element. If his power can be absorbed by you, can it help you recover your cultivation? As soon as he finished, Dong Qiankue suddenly stopped, the frown on his forehead loosened, then looked at the middle-aged man and said, You mean the fire of the 5 elements? The middle-aged man said, Yes, there are 5 of them. Each of them has 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. These are the legendary 5 elements. If the fire element is absorbed by you, I think it should be possible. Dong Qiankue became excited, and said, What do you mean it should be okay? Of course. The power of the 5 elements is the power of the heavens and the earth. Born with 5 elements, is this considered the 5 elements' ancestor? If I can swallow the fire element in his body, not only will it help me recover my cultivation, I might also be able to step into the realm of sword emperors. Hee. Maybe I can dominate the entire ancient antiquity, ha ha ha. Dong Qiankue's eyes lit up. And then, Dong Qiankue immediately said, No matter what method you use, you must get him for me after tomorrow's assessment. As long as I can obtain the power of the fire element, in the future, us brothers will be able to dominate the ancient antiquity, ha ha ha. The middle-aged man said, I'll do it right away. Dong Qiankue said, Go, but you must be careful. The great clan elder values this assessment greatly, you must be careful. The middle-aged man said, Understood. The entire inner court was discussing today's test. The power of the 5 elements, the genius with 8 heads, and the profound stone with such strong defense, were all being discussed with relish even within the energy released by Long Fei's master swordsman rank. It was as if they were all watching the ancient antiquity in great glory. Main hall. Lu Xun carefully reported the results of the second round of the examination. The great elder could not conceal the smile on his face. You did not misjudge him. No, he went far beyond my expectations. Putting aside Bailey Tianhai and Zhao Dehan who entered the sect with him, just the 5 elements alone are enough to make any one of us feel embarrassed. Lu Xun said slightly, Master, you're saying that he discovered the brothers of 5 elements. The great clan elder nodded and said, It must be him. If it wasn't him, who else could it be? Someone who could complete the 3 divine missions, this brat. Ha ha ha. Good boy. I'm very curious now, are he really a reincarnated powerhouse of the divine space? Lu Xun heard the words and his eyebrows tightened. The great clan elder smiled lightly at Lu Xun, and said, You've never thought of this question before, right? Do you know who gave me the 3 missions? Lu Xun said, I heard Master mention him before, that he is a certain powerhouse lord from the divine space. The great clan elder said, That's right, but what I did not tell you was that the reward for the last stage of the mission was to directly enter the divine space, and if you want to accomplish this, you have to kill a god's powerhouse. God of heaven, that is a person who possesses holy godhead. Even though he killed a god and has a holy godhead in his hand, he still hasn't entered the divine space yet, hasn't merged with the holy godhead, and still sat back down. How can he possibly be an ordinary mortal? Lu Xun was even more shocked, his heart overwhelmed with shock. He originally thought that he only had a slight difference in strength compared to Long Fei. It was completely like the difference between the heavens and the earth, there was no way to measure the difference. The great clan elder stood up and said indifferently, If he is the reincarnation of the divine powerhouse, then compared to us, he is a god and we are mere mortals. So, Lu Xun, pave a path for him to the divine space. The great elder said sincerely. Lu Xun was young and vigorous. In the ancient antiquity, there were not many people who were looked down upon by Lu Xun. Even if he was the #1 sword genius of the Sword Elf Mountain, Ling Yuan, he did not place him in his eyes. But now it seemed. He didn't even have the qualifications to be disdainful, because Long Fei had left him far, far behind. Lu Xun understood the meaning behind the great clan elder's words, he nodded and said, I know what to do now. The head elder nodded and smiled, his eyes full of expectation. In another place, Fang Wampeng sat at the side. Another man dressed in black leaned to the side, looked at the mountains not far away, and smiled faintly. Ancient antiquity, you're finally here, right? Her voice was cold. It caused Fang Wampeng's heart to feel cold, and he couldn't help but ask, Master, what exactly are you trying to do? The man in black smiled and said, looking for someone. Fang Wampeng asked, who are you looking for? The man in black said, find someone who can raise me to the 9th rank of an Empyrean god with but a thought. The third round, the martial arts duel. The third round, the martial arts duel. A fighting stage appeared in the square. Elder of Inner House had landed early. They had arrived earlier than those outer sect disciples, because the appearance of the outer sect examination this time was simply too unexpected. After a night of brewing, it could be said that the entire inner court was stirred by it. The various peak owners were even more determined to not care about the price of one or two disciples. This year's inner sect examination was known as the most important inner sect test in history. It was also the most important exam in history. The scene was quite sensational. Basically, all of the outer sect disciples were present, and other than the plaza, the entire outer sect area was empty. There were a lot of inner sect disciples and elders. They all wanted to experience the power of the 5 elements, and also wanted to see if Long Fei, who was capable of exploding with such power with Master Swordsman rank, was truly that fierce. All of a sudden, the third round of the examination had turned into an unprecedented grand gathering of ancient antiquity. Cough, cough. One of the elder of Inner House walked onto the stage, cleared his throat and said, "This is the last round of the assessment. I hope that all of you disciples will display your strongest strengths. Even if you lose, you will still be selected, so show your strongest strength. The last quarter of an hour, get ready." The 36 disciples that passed the second round of examination walked out and stood in 2 rows. There was no need to rearrange the lineup. It was a match of the strongest against the weakest. Depending on the results of the second round. The people who scored the best in the second round were the 5 people who all passed with a perfect score. It's about to begin. The last match is also the match that tests the contestants' strength the most. Who do you think will be the final winner? It's hard to say. I feel that the Sword Immortal senior brother is still the strongest. Senior brother Zhongqi is not weak, but that brat called Long Fei, although his power is strong, but is he able to display it in actual combat? That's hard to say. With no one interfering with his demonstration, who would give him so much time to gather his thoughts in actual combat? That's right. I don't think he has any advantages in actual combat. Yeah, look at how cocky he was yesterday. Let's see how he will be cocky today. We'll see. A demonstration was a demonstration, while actual combat was actual combat. Just like theory and actual combat, no matter how strong one's theoretical knowledge was, it was very difficult for it to be used in actual combat. This was also the reason why many disciples were not optimistic about Long Fei. The power that Long Fei unleashed was indeed strong, but in actual combat, there was no time for him to gather his strength. Adding his 0 inherent skill, there were not many people who thought well of him. Elder of Inner House also had the same intentions. Long Fei is indeed not weak, but it would be difficult for him to display his strength in actual combat. After all, demonstration is just a demonstration. The real combat on the fighting stage is a life and death struggle, so there's no time for him to gather his strength. He is just a master swordsman rank and doesn't have talent. Furthermore, the blood vein is a trash blood vein, so his combat experience is definitely not much. In this kind of situation, I'm afraid he will at most be able to pass through the first round of the competition. You guys don't think well of him, but I do. Just don't fight with me for it later. I don't want anything else but the stronger ones. There's no problem with you choosing him. The problem is, you can't let him bring the other disciples. This way, it'll be unfair to the other peaks. You're right. I want that brothers of 5 elements. I want a genius with 8 brains. I want the one with the strongest defense. Before the competition even began, they had already divided the spoils. 15 minutes passed quickly. Elder of Inner House walked forward and said, "Time is up. Now, let's add on to the first round of the competition. Wu Hua against Chen Xiong. Disciples, please step forward." After saying that, the entire venue quieted down. Wu Hua walked up the stage. Chen Xiong also walked forward. The two of them cupped their fists as they greeted each other. The gong sounded and the match began. Chen Xiong took out a pair of bronze hammer S and hammered them with both hammers. Boom! An enormous sonic wave attack directly pounced towards Wu Hua. Wu Hua moved the center of his brows, the aura within his body moved, and the fire attribute energy immediately combusted. Boom! The flames devoured the sonic wave. Moreover, the surrounding aura instantly became scorching hot. In the dark, Dong Tiankui's eyes flashed. What a strong fire elemental energy. No, 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 this is not the power of fire element. It's even stronger than fire element. Ha ha ha. As long as I absorb the power of fire within him, then my cultivation will definitely step into the Emperor realm. I must get him. We must, no matter the cost. All this while, Dong Tiankui had placed all his hopes on Long Fei, but after a few attempts, he still failed to obtain any benefits. Now that the great clan elder had intervened to protect Long Fei, it was simply impossible for him to make a move in the open. With regards to Long Fei, he had almost lost his chance. Wu Hua's appearance made him feel that was even better than the highest grade fire soul. Boom! Chen Xiong was pushed out of the arena. The gong sounded. Wu Hua wins. Wu Hua cupped his fists and said to Chen Xiong, who was beneath the stage, "Senior brother, you have let me win." Chen Xiong harumphed. In the next round, Wu Tu against Liu Han. All of a sudden, the stage had turned into an ocean of earth elements. As a precaution, no matter how Liu Han attacked, he could not even harm a single hair on Wu Tu's body. In the end, Liu Han used up all his holy sauce to admit defeat. Brothers of 5 Elements S went up one by one, and when they used all the things that Long Fei had taught them in the past few days, it was as if the entire fighting stage was their stage. The Elder of Inner House S, who did not believe that the 5 elements would appear at the same time, were all stunned. This made the Elders want the 5 elements even more. They all knew how powerful the 5 elements were. Next match, Bailey Tianhai against Hu Liehua. "The two of you, please come up." Bailey Tianhai smiled. Hu Liehua also had a sinister look in his eyes, which revealed his killing intent, and walked to the stage. "Your brain is good, but that does not mean you are strong. Let's see how I'll torture you to death." Before she finished her sentence, Hu Liehua suddenly sneak attacked. His 2 fists moved, and a tiger's shadow appeared on his body. Tiger God Fist. Bailey Tianhai stood in place without moving. Seeing Hu Liehua's attack, he sneered, "Tiger God Fist?" Unable to keep up with his strength, the winds in his fists are unstable, and his left side is empty. Within a few seconds, he revealed the 18 weaknesses of Tiger God Fist. Outer Door Presbyter might not be familiar with it, but Elder of Inner House, especially the Elder from the Power Sect, was so shocked that his brows creased. Tiger God Fist is also a high-level cultivation technique, so is there a need for him to cultivate it? Are you just spouting nonsense? He expressed doubt. After all, this was a high-grade cultivation technique, and it was impossible for it to have so many weaknesses. Just as everyone was questioning him, Bailey Tianhai's body slightly moved to Hu Liehua's left side and just happened to dodge this punch. One punch missed, and Hu Liehua punched again. However, at this time, Bailey Tianhai smiled and said, "I'll let you experience my evolved version of Tiger God Fist." "I'll let you experience my evolved version of Tiger God Fist." "I'll let you experience my evolved version of Tiger God Fist." As soon as he finished, Bailey Tianhai's legs moved, and he stood in a row as his body slightly lowered and his fists slightly raised, like a hungry tiger pouncing on its prey. A surge of power surged out. Buzz, buzz, buzz. A few muffled booms rang out like the roar of a tiger. At the same time, the shadow of a ferocious tiger also appeared on his body. Did he practice Tiger God Fist? To grasp the essence of Tiger God Fist in an instant. That's impossible. Is he even human? You learnt it with just a glance. I'm afraid it's just a show. Some were shocked, while others mocked. Any martial arts technique required one to go through training before one could grasp the power within. It was not something that could be learnt with a single look. Even a martial arts grandmaster would not be able to do this. But he is Bailey Tianhai. He's an octopus. Hu Liehua bellowed, Tiger God roar. Go to hell. Bailey Tianhai moved his fists. Without much movement, he moved his fists to meet the attack. Tiger shock. Roar. Roar. With two roars, the image of the tiger god on his body rushed out from his two fists, straight towards Hu Liehua. Bang, bang. 4 fists intersected. Catcher, catcher, catcher. Crack, crack. The moment the 4 fists clashed, a series of bone-cracking sounds resounded. Hu Liehua's pupils shrank abruptly as he let out a pig-like howl. The bones in his 2 arms that were constantly exploding were directly pierced out from his strength. All the bones in his 2 hands were shattered from the shock, and quite a few bones were sent flying out. How much pain was this? Hu Liehua's arms struck out, and fresh blood madly surged out. His entire body also unceasingly let out painful screams as he was forced to retreat. However, Bailey Tianhai did not stop there. Taking a step forward, he shook both his fists once again. Tiger God roar. It was almost the same move that Hu Liehua used just now. The only difference was that Bailey Tianhai's move was an evolved version, which allowed him to gather all his strength in one point. Boom, boom. Both fists struck Hu Liehua's chest. Hu Liehua's back felt a dent, and 2 fist marks shot out from his back. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. His face turned pale and he staggered to the edge of the fighting stage, finally falling backwards. Bam! People don't have a breath of life. Bailey Tianhai's gaze turned, and stared at the nearby Zhongqi, and said without concealing it in the slightest, "You'll be next." Zhongqi's gaze tensed up, and his fists clenched so tightly that it made a cracking sound. Then, Bailey Tianhai retracted the qi on his body, then bowed to the jury and turned to leave the stage. The elder of inner house in the jury didn't react at all. It wasn't until Bailey Tianhai was about to leave the stage that they started to recover. The strength sect elder stood up and said, "Bailey Tianhai, have you practiced the Tiger God Fist before?" Bailey Tianhai shook his head, "I have never cultivated before." The elder then asked, "Then your godly Tiger Fist was?" Bailey Tianhai said, "I just learned it, and I changed it a little and evolved my Tiger God Fist." If the Tiger God Fist previously was a rank 5 cultivation technique, then it should be at least rank 8 now. 8th rank was only a conservative estimate. Putting all other moves aside, just the 2 moves from a moment ago had reached at least the level of a grade 9 cultivation technique. The elder's eyes flashed with excitement. Incredible. Truly incredible. The brainless genius is truly worthy of being called the brain-dead genius. With just a glance, he can replicate it. If such a genius were to be placed in the main hall's scripture tower and have all of the martial arts inside restored and evolved, how great would the improvement that would be for our sect? I can't imagine. I have seen a lot of martial arts geniuses in my life, but compared to him, damn it, it's simply not comparable. All of Bailey Tianhai's intelligence was subdued. The exam really wasn't over yet. Otherwise, they would have all jumped down to snatch him away. Next, Zhao Dahan against the War King Lightning. Zhao Dahan walked up the stage in big strides. The strength in his body exploded forth, bang, bang, bang. Both of his hands instantly turned into deep-sea profound stones, and his entire person seemed to have turned into a stone person. Upon seeing this, Wang Lei directly admitted defeat. They didn't even go up to the arena. It would be better to be more direct, since going up there would just be looking for a beating. Zhao Dahan scratched his head and said, "Damn, how boring." Next, Long Fei against Qin Zong. Qin Kang was an 8th level sword saint. It was 3 levels higher than Long Fei. The sword technique he cultivates, one hand of blue dragon sword, is extremely sharp. His talent is not bad either, it's a strong demon beast talent, able to release demonic power. They had a type of demon beast. When the blood vein explodes, His strength will be raised by several fold. Qin Zong raised his sword and landed on the stage. He stared coldly at Long Fei and curled his lips, speaking with some disdain. Yesterday I saw your strength exploding out, not bad at all. That's just a demonstration. Now is the time for actual combat. I won't give you the slightest chance to gather your strength. Brat, just wait for the moan under my sword. As soon as he finished. As soon as a drop of it was released, Spirit Blood's aura also exploded forth. Rumble. The clothes on his body immediately burst apart. The tiger's back was bulky, his entire body emitted a suppressive aura of a demon beast. He waved the large sword in his hand. Hualala, hualala. The sound of the sword was incomparably ear-piercing. Ah, ha, ha. Qin Zong laughed crazily. His laughter was like thunder as he slashed his sword towards Long Fei. Brat, kneel down and admit defeat. Hualala. The sword chi moved wantonly. The powerful energy along with the beast's might heavily crushed towards Long Fei. Long Fei raised the center of his brows and let out a faint laugh. Ha ha. Level 1 Eternal Dragon's body. Explode. His aura moved, and a trace of power flashed across Long Fei's eyes. Shua. He took a step forward. It landed in front of Qin Zong. Qin Zong's eyes narrowed as he revealed a trace of panic. He wanted to retreat. However, Long Fei had already placed her palm on his chest, sinking slightly. Power King explosion. Boom. Qin Zong's back suddenly bulged and his body immediately exploded. He didn't even have the chance to react before he flew out of the arena and landed heavily on the ground, blood spurting out of his mouth. His body also returned to its original form. Qin Zong had a complicated look in his eyes, but he had to admit that Long Fei's strength was much higher than his. The crowd was also shocked, unable to react. Previously, they didn't think much of Long Fei, but this move of Long Fei's had swollen their faces. Those elders were also a bit embarrassed. The strength sect elder laughed and said, "Everyone, how is it? Are my eyes good?" Ha ha ha. Master, the ancient antiquities sect is right in front of us. Master, please, can you not hurt ancient antiquity? Fang Wanpeng pleaded. The black-clothed man took a deep breath. Then, his deep eyes flashed with a bright light. Dragon Race's aura? Just as Long Fei was about to use the power of the ancient dragon body, he felt a hint of the dragon's aura. Just as Long Fei was about to use the power of the ancient dragon body, he felt a hint of the dragon's aura. However, he wasn't shocked, but his eyes shone with even more excitement. The dragon race had been exterminated. There were no longer any dragons in the Dragon Vein Mountain of the divine space. The remaining dragon clan members who were hiding everywhere in the divine space, being chased and killed by the Xians, were basically on the edge of being exterminated. In order to protect himself and turn into a dog of the Emperor Xian, the current patriarch of the dragon clan, Long Wushan, had caused even the families of the divine space to mock him. The dragon race had become the laughingstock of the divine space. Everyone pushed against the wall. Previously, the dragon clan's camel was still bigger than a horse, but now, everyone wanted to step on it ruthlessly. If he met any dragon clan disciples, he wouldn't let them go. He could just kill one of them and go to Xian's to receive their rewards. Emperor Xian also said that ancient world did not need the existence of the dragon race. Emperor Xian was currently one of the most powerful powerhouse in the competition, so his words carried a lot of weight in the competition. If he said this, then wouldn't those dragon clan disciples be killed when they saw him? Pray for a phoenix to become a dragon? Ha ha ha. I want both the dragon and the phoenix. After killing the dragon clan disciples, I will be rewarded with the Xians, and then I will be able to obtain the spirit blood of the phoenix princess. My cultivation will be raised by leaps and bounds, and when I return to the divine space, I will be a 9th-ranked god. The black-clothed man excitedly stepped into the mountain gate. Who is it? Daring to enter the ancient antiquity? Do you have the order badge? 2 disciples who were guarding the mountain stopped the black-clothed man's path. The man in black sneered. In that instant, his figure moved, his shadow curling up. Catcher, catcher. The instant his figure passed through the two disciples didn't even have time to react before falling to the ground. Their faces were deathly pale, without any signs of life. The Black Shadow Man didn't even look at them. He did not use any of his strength. Seeing that, Fang Wanping immediately ran forward, his brows knitted, and thought, "This man's cultivation is too strong. I have to notify the great clan elder as soon as possible. If not, I am afraid that ancient antiquity will be able to." He didn't dare think about it. Those elite disciples of the King Swordsman rank from before died miserably in the hands of the black-clothed man, the same way. This guy was simply not someone from the world of mortal world. With the appearance of the divine space's powerhouse, who could block it? Seeing that the black-clothed man had walked far away, Fang Wanping changed his direction and flew directly towards the inner door. The man in black did not stop him. He had already reached his destination, so he didn't care much about Fang Wanping. In his eyes, everything within the world of mortal world were ants. What he wanted was phoenix blood. He had already locked onto the phoenix blood aura and was approaching it step by step. As for those who tried to stop him, there was only one outcome: die. After the first round, there were only 18 disciples left out of 36 people. This time, Long Fei's side had half of the participants. The other 9 people all felt extremely pressured. If they were to lose after the second round, then only Long Fei and the rest remained. At that time, the competition would be entirely controlled by Long Fei. Let the second round of the martial competition begin. First round, Wu Hue will fight against Ma Tian. Disciples, please step forward. The second round of the martial arts competition began. Long Fei patted Wu Hue's shoulders and said, "His cultivation is higher than yours, but your talent is far stronger than his. Furthermore, the one you are afraid of right now is him. Don't feel burdened." Wu Hue nodded and said, "Yen." He strode towards the arena. At this moment, the space between Phoenix's eyebrows sank and her expression changed. Long Fei could not help but ask, "What happened to you? Your face is so ugly." Phoenix shook her head and said, "I'm fine. Is there something wrong?" Long Fei said. Phoenix quickly recovered her cute expression, giggled, and said, "Maybe I ate too much barbecue yesterday. My stomach was a bit uncomfortable." "My darling, I'll go take care of it." Long Fei scratched Phoenix's nose and said, It's just that you don't understand how to take care of yourself. Hurry up and go." Phoenix nodded and replied, "En." And then, Phoenix quickly left the square. The black-clothed man could sense her existence, and Phoenix could also sense his approach. It was just that. In the beginning, she did not put it to heart. It was only when the black-clothed man entered the ancient antiquity that she felt it, making her panic a little. Moreover, what kind of powerhouse was the black-clothed man? Someone who could kill her grandfather. If he found this place, the entire outer sect would probably die cleanly. The outer sect disciples didn't care. The most important person was Long Fei. She couldn't let anything happen to Long Fei. Wu Hue wins. Next match. After a few rounds, Wu Hue still won. He won with a psychological advantage. The talent of the 5-element fire placed an even greater pressure on every disciple. If it wasn't for this, wanting to win wouldn't have been so easy. Talent was talent after all. Talent can only mean that you have a potential that is even stronger than ordinary people. Before this potential is revealed, the cultivation realm will still explain everything. Wu Tu walked up the stage. Not long after, he won too. However, Long Fei was a little absent-minded. Why is the girl not back yet? Yunxi looked at Long Fei and said, "It's just a stomachache. Look at how nervous you are." Long Fei shook her head and said, "Something is wrong. She must be hiding something from me." What kind of existence was a phoenix? She had diarrhea? Just kidding. Yunxi was startled, and said, "How about this? I'll go look for them. You stay here and calm the scene. They can't do without you." Indeed. Long Fei was their backbone, and the moment he left, it would affect them greatly. Long Fei said, "All right, find her and come back as soon as possible." Yunxi said, "Don't worry." Yunxi quickly left. Long Fei was a little uneasy in his heart, and had a bad premonition. Wu Shui wins, next match. I won, hihi. The little girl jumped down. All 5 of them won the match. Next match. Bailey Tianhai against Zhong Qi. As soon as he finished, Bailey Tianhai became excited. Finally it's my turn. Long Fei's expression also tightened, and said, Tianhai, Zhong Qi's strength is not simple. He has always been concealing himself. You must be more careful. Bailey Tianhai said, Big brother, don't worry. Even if I die today, I will let him die first. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. He didn't forget his grudge outside the South Heaven Gate for even a second. If it was not 10 times more, he would not be Bailey Tianhai. Bailey Tianhai walked up the stage, looked at Zhong Qi, and said, I have been waiting for this day for a long time. Zhong Qi sneered, and said, The last time I didn't kill you, I let you know what it means to feel despair. This time, I'll let you know what it means to feel despair again. Just you wait. Just wait for you to kneel in front of me and wail. Ha ha ha. Zhong Qi was very arrogant. Zhong Qi was very arrogant. Because he had the power to be arrogant. He was ranked 2nd in the Outer Sect's top 10 rankings, and his second round talent score was even higher than that of the Sword Immortals. His cultivation was also in the 2nd level of the Sword Immortal. To have such powerful strength, he could indeed be arrogant in the outer court. He did not place Bailey Tianhai in his eyes, as his attention was always on Long Fei. Because only the strong in this world can explain everything. On the fighting stage, even a 10,000 brain geniuses would not be able to withstand a single punch. Bring it on. Bailey Tianhai released the aura from his body, as his eyes firmly locked onto Zhong Qi. Zhong Qi said coldly, Prepare to tremble. Boom. Boom. He lowered his fists, and they were covered with a pitch-black layer of iron. His talent was Iron Fist. Clenching both of his fists together, catcha sounds rang out and his body sank slightly. Su. His figure disappeared. His speed was extremely fast. Elder of Inner House could not help but exclaim in shock, What a fast speed. A brainless genius is a monster that can only be found by luck. Do you want me to protect you? If anything happens to him, that would be the loss of our ancient antiquity. That's right. He can't let anything happen to him. The few elders started to discuss, implying that Bailey Tianhai was not Zhong Qi's opponent. After all, his talent was different. One was his brain, the other was his strength. If the two of them were to compete in strength, naturally, they would suffer a disadvantage if their brains were better. Seeing Zhong Qi's figure disappear, Bailey Tianhai tightened the space between his eyebrows, as his body slightly sank. Boom. He rushed out as well. His fists sank. It was an almost identical move as Zhong Qi's, as if he was copying it just now. Zhong Qi laughed disdainfully, You overestimate yourself. Go to hell. Both of his fists became illusory, and his iron fists suddenly became bigger, directly transforming into a huge iron hammer, exploding in the air. Zhao Dahan's gaze tightened. Second brother, be careful. Long Fei's eyes also darkened. He started to worry for Bailey Tianhai. Crap. Elder of Inner House stretched out their necks, and a few elders wanted to rush out and protect Bailey Tianhai at any time. However, the corner of Bailey Tianhai's mouth lifted slightly, and said, Move 3 centimeters to the right. His body suddenly stopped. Just as he said, the right side moved by 3 points. Rumble. The iron hammer exploded down, pretty much hitting Bailey Tianhai's face, but it just didn't hurt him at all. The center of the arena exploded. Shards flew in all directions. Everyone let out a heavy sigh. Zhong Qi's gaze turned sinister, retracted his huge iron fist, and swept it across the room. Bailey Tianhai said once again with a light voice, Speed, 18,000, Strength, 69,000. Jump. With a flick of his body, he directly landed behind Zhong Qi. Everything was within his calculations. His 8-brain computing ability was like a superpower, completely surpassing everything else. Zhong Qi's face darkened, he felt that he was being toyed with, and fury surged in his heart. You like calculating, right? Let's see how you calculate this move. His body sank and his fists turned into huge iron fists. He clenched them tightly and lifted them up into the air, then smashed them against the ground. Iron fist strike. The sound of something tearing through the air constantly came. One after another strength stripes flew out. This was a group injury cultivation technique. Bailey Tianhai also knew, but there were no blind spots to dodge in the entire arena, whether it was in the sky or on the ground. No matter where he hid, he would still be injured by the shockwave. In other words, he had no way of dodging this move. Zhongqi laughed coldly and said, "Hide. Calculate. Ha ha ha. Let's see where you can hide. Ha ha ha." Zhongqi laughed madly. An elder of Main Hall Peak had already stood up. He had to protect Bailey Tianhai well. Indeed, this move of yours does not have any place to hide or hide. However, do you think that I, Bailey Tianhai, only know how to dodge and calculate? Then you're wrong. The two moves just now were only the beginning of your nightmare. Bailey Tianhai stood in place without moving, when the two giant hammers heavily smashed down. The blue stones in the arena were all smashed to smithereens by the shockwave. A huge shockwave appeared in the air. The blue stone was reduced to dust, and the surroundings of the arena were constantly cracking. If it was an ordinary person, their mind would have been shattered by the shock. He couldn't hold on at all. Unless your cultivation is much higher than Zhongqi's. In the eyes of others, Bailey Tianhai had definitely lost. However, Bailey Tianhai laughed deeply, his body sinking down, boundary, open, boom. A air shield sprang out of his body and wrapped around him. The air shield was not big, just like an egg, and was just about to wrap around him. It looked like a thin layer of mist. He looked very weak. However, the hammer came down. The air shield slightly shook, and did not disperse, but the Bailey Tianhai inside the air shield was completely fine. Zhongqi's pupils tightened as he said solemnly, "Impossible. You won't be able to block this attack." The elder from Main Hall Peak said in shock, "What was the power he released just now? Boundary? The power of space? This. Isn't his talent intellectual? Why would there be the power of space?" No one could understand. Only Bailey Tianhai himself knew that this was because of the drop of Spirit Blood's blood. Long Fei's spirit blood was like a treasury. His 8 brain power allowed Spirit Blood's energy to be exerted to the limit as he developed the power of space. Zhongqi was even a little confused. Without waiting for him to react, Bailey Tianhai smiled and said, "Replication complete. Now I'll let you have a taste of my power." He leaped high into the air. The two fists landed heavily, directly smashing into the cracked ground. The moment the force hit the ground, it instantly exploded. Rumble. Rumble. Zhongqi's pupils contracted fiercely as his body became unsteady and his mind shook non-stop. Ah! Ah! Hemorrhage of eardrum. His nose was bleeding, his mouth was spitting blood, and blood was gushing out of his eyes. All of a sudden, he was shaken until he bled profusely. And he was using his own technique. Bailey Tianhai smiled slightly, and said, "Zhongqi, what are you feeling so good about this?" Zhongqi was injured, like a mad dog. He immediately swallowed down a pill, and at that moment, his qi exploded out. Boom. The powerful force directly caused Bailey Tianhai to retreat continuously. Bailey Tianhai frowned. "This power." Zhongqi roared out, "Die, go and die." With a step in front of Bailey Tianhai, he punched his fist out heavily. Bailey Tianhai was unable to dodge in time and was directly struck. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. He was sent flying as well. He fell off the arena. Bailey Tianhai's face turned sinister, he wanted to crawl up. At this moment, Zhongqi jumped down from the stage. Looking down from above, he threw a punch at the center of Bailey Tianhai's brows. Long Fei frowned. "Forbidden medicine? You idiot." Zhao Dahan roared out, "Ah!" Rocks in the depths of the earth directly rushed out from the ground, blocking Bailey Tianhai in an instant. Zhongqi smashed the rock into pieces with his fist and smashed the rock with his powerful strength. "All of you will die. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.